Chapter 1507. Deputy Commissioner Lee frowned. He couldn't figure out what Su Yin was showing him, but he could guess that it wasn't anything good. It had to be something threatening to him. President Su, I'm not interested in looking at this. Deputy Commissioner Lee said calmly, you'd better take it back. Let's talk about the program staff today. If your people can't go, you have to give me a reason no matter what. You'll know the reason when you see what's in front of you. Su Yin smiled and insisted. Commissioner Lee, you have to know that there are some things that you don't know until you see them. You'll be shocked when you see them. I think someone should give you a heads up. You know better than I do what's untouchable these days. Su Yin, what do you mean? Don't go too far. Deputy Commissioner Lee picked up the folder in front of him nervously. He definitely didn't want to see what was in there, but now that Su Yin had put it this way, he had no choice but to look. Deputy Commissioner Lee nervously took out the folder. It turned out to be a pile of invoices and accounts. At first, Deputy Commissioner Lee didn't understand what Su Yin meant, but suddenly it dawned on him. He recognized the list of items in the accounts. Consecrated silver chopsticks, pure gold spoon from Southeast Asia. These were all small things. There was also a go set made of Hutian jade and black jade. Deputy Commissioner Lee had a deep impression of these seemingly elegant items. These were all small gifts from Sky Entertainment Group to him during the holidays. Zhou Meiyan was meticulous and knew that he liked elegance. She would never give him a tacky red packet or implicitly give him expensive specialties. Later, when she heard that Deputy Commissioner Lee was a devout Buddhist, she specially invited him an expensive Buddha's head. These items were all on the list. Deputy Director Lee's heart raced as he read the list. Any one of the items on the list was enough to make him lose his job. Deputy Commissioner Lee took a deep breath. This was really big trouble. Su Yin had shown him these things as a threat. Deputy Commissioner Lee felt as if someone had punched him in the heart. He was the only one who could understand this kind of anger. Manager Su, it's going to be interesting if you do that. Deputy Commissioner Lee couldn't care less about saving face. He slammed the documents on the table. What are you trying to do by showing me these things? Everyone is here, so let's talk things out. Don't be so secretive. Su Yin smiled. It seems that Chief Lee has drunk too much. I've already gone this far. Could it be that I'm still not clear enough? If that's the case, then there's nothing I can do. Su Yin. Deputy Commissioner Lee almost flipped the table in anger. Are you threatening me? I didn't mean to threaten Director Lee with these. Su Yin. I just want to make it clear that Sky Entertainment has treated Director Lee well, and Director Lee has treated Sky Entertainment well. We're really good friends. Good friends shouldn't make things difficult for good friends, don't you think so? Peter Zhao didn't understand what was going on, but he could see that his uncle was gnashing his teeth in anger. The things in that folder must be his uncle's weakness. Good friends? Ha 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 ha, what a good friend. Deputy Commissioner Lee had indeed drunk a little too much. Otherwise, he wouldn't have boasted so shamelessly. Well, since you think you can take down your good friend with these things, then go ahead and give it a try. I don't believe that your words alone can prove that I'm greedy. Peter Zhao didn't say a single dirty word, but he understood. It seemed that his uncle really had a pigtail in the hands of others. Moreover, this pigtail was quite long. This was really incredible. Su Yin had brought out such an important thing. It seemed that he was determined to fight against his uncle. Then his reality show would have no chance at all. Damn, the boss of an entertainment company actually dared to fall out with his leader. Good, he really wanted to see what ability this Su Yin had to deal with his uncle. Director Su, you have to have evidence. If you don't have evidence, you'll have to bear legal responsibility if you talk nonsense. Peter Zhao also stood up and said, you have to think clearly. Do you know what defamation is? Deliberately fabricating and spreading fictitious facts that are enough to degrade another person's character and destroy another person's reputation. Serious conduct is defamation. Su Yin. Although I'm not proficient in the law, I know a thing or two about it. So please rest assured, Producer Zhao, I won't step into a minefield. Deputy Commissioner Lee snorted. I'm afraid that won't work. Director Su, what do you have to investigate me? Do you think you're a member of the discipline inspection team? Su Yun waved the phone in his hand. Director Lee, you have a high position and power. Even the slightest movement will be noticed by the discipline inspection team. And my artist, Fan Bing, has a lot of social attention. Even the slightest thing can be hyped into news. Many fake things can be turned into truth by public opinion. Deputy Commissioner Lee was stunned. He didn't understand what Su Yun meant. Su Yun opened the photo he had just taken with his phone. Director Lee may have been too engrossed in drinking just now, so he forgot the photo I took of the two of you. Aya, an A-list female artist toasting in a magnificent place. If this were to be posted online, what kind of public opinion would it cause? Realization dawned on Deputy Commissioner Lee. No wonder Fan Bing ran away after the toast. It turned out that they were working together to mess with him. What a hangman banquet. Deputy Commissioner Lee didn't care about his image anymore. He slammed the table and jumped up. Su Yun, what are you trying to do? Aren't you afraid of ruining your artist's image? Su Yun smiled slightly and said calmly, Fan Bing has always been the queen of hot topics. There's all kinds of messy news. Everyone knows what's true and what's false in the entertainment circle. She's just there to entertain the public. I've already asked her for her opinion. Personally, she doesn't have any objection to another hot topic. Anyway, she's not afraid of a crooked shadow. If she hasn't done anything wrong, she's not afraid of ghosts knocking on her door in the middle of the night. Deputy Commissioner Lee's entire face was flushed red. He wanted nothing more than to skin Su Yun alive. As for Director Lee, how should I put it? Do you feel a little guilty? Su Yun asked. Deputy Commissioner Lee knew very well that people in the entertainment circle would be able to take this kind of news. But it was different for him. No matter how he explained, he would definitely be investigated. As long as he was investigated, how could an official not be found out? D*M*. Drinking made things worse. He wasn't exactly a hero in drinking. Director Su. Deputy Commissioner Lee calmed down. He knew in his heart that Su Yun wouldn't really mess with him. He had no grudge against him. After all, they were partners. Today's actions were probably forced by him and Peter Zhao. There's no need for us to do this. Of course there's no need. Su Yun smiled slightly. Just like that poem, born of the same root, there's no need to be so anxious to destroy each other. We're all people who are contributing to the development of Huaxia's film and television industry. Don't feel pressured. Deputy Commissioner Lee nodded and raised his wine glass. Director Su, I'll speak on behalf of him today. For his reality show, if Director Su wants to arrange for someone to go, then arrange it. If you're really not interested, then do as you wish. In the future, we'll still be friends. Is that okay? With Director Lee's words, the photos on my phone must be deleted. Deputy Commissioner Lee couldn't tell whether Su Yun was telling the truth or not. But even if it was true, he didn't dare to play with Su Yun anymore. If he couldn't win, then what was the point of playing with him? Peter Zhao was stunned when he heard this. He had originally asked his uncle to teach Su Yun a lesson, but he didn't expect that it would be Su Yun who taught him a lesson. More importantly, his show was scrapped because of such a sentence. Producer Zhao, let's have a drink together. Su Yun raised his wine glass as if nothing had happened. Chapter 1508. Zhuo Meiyan didn't know whether to laugh or cry when she found out that Su Yun had used such a threatening method to solve the problem. Perhaps only Su Yun could do such a thing. No one else would dare to take such a risk. As the old saying went, a newborn calf is not afraid of a tiger. That was really brilliant. In fact, Su Yun also understood that even if the old man was still alive, he wouldn't have handled this matter like this. However, he believed that what he had done now was the only way to solve this problem completely. Nowadays, the country's leaders had very strict standards for the behavior of big leaders like Deputy Director Lee. They would never allow their behavior to damage the image of all the country's leaders. Therefore, Su Yun believed that it would be better to simply solve this problem once and for all. In this way, Deputy Director Lee would never use his power to pressure Sky Entertainment again. As long as Sky Entertainment did things that met the requirements in the future, he could only keep his mouth shut. Perhaps only Su Yun could do such a daring thing. Wan Qingshuang breathed a sigh of relief. At first, she was worried that Su Yin would mess things up, but she had to admit that the result was really good. Huaxia needed a good relationship like this. She didn't need to curry favor with the leaders who were in charge of this matter every time she did something. Power didn't belong to him. It was given to him by the country. Therefore, Ruan Qingshuang always believed that all leaders were the same as ordinary people. The source of their arrogance was the power in their hands. Power was given to them by the country. It wasn't given to them by birth. Even Ruan Qingshuang knew this simple truth. However, there were still quite a few people with power who didn't understand it. Moreover, the smaller the leader, the more they didn't understand this truth. There were many people who used a chicken feather as an arrow. The higher the sky was, the more likely it was for some people to use the power given to them by the country to do evil things. If Su Yin could teach Deputy Director Li a lesson, it might not be a bad thing for him. After all, once a person fell into power and obtained benefits, he would sink deeper and deeper. Sooner or later, he would be finished. Not to mention a small deputy director like him. Even those big tigers, which one of them could escape the punishment of the country's laws? Power was a double-edged sword. In the hands of those who didn't know how to use it, not only would they stab others, they would also stab themselves. The stab wound on themselves would be even harder to heal. Fan Bing had put in a lot of effort into this matter, but she was willing to do everything. She was quite happy that Mr. Su had asked her for help instead of Ling Jiling. It was normal for women to be scheming against each other. After Zhuo Meiyan readily agreed to take out 300 million yuan for Su Yin to invest in the Yu Corporation, Su Yin rushed to Beijing immediately and transferred the money to Yu Jiaqian's account. Yu Jiaqian no longer had the words to express her gratitude. She had to prove to Su Yin that her judgment was correct with her actions. After settling this matter in Beijing, Su Yin had to return to Qingdao to do his work. As he came into contact with more and more matters in Sky Entertainment, he gradually understood how much effort it took to manage a corporation. Before leaving Beijing, Su Yin contacted Matthew. He knew that Matthew was a genius in the field of science. Even though he studied military weapons and the internet, he should know the importance of complementary energy research better than Su Yin. Su Yin contacted Matthew because he hoped that Matthew would be able to learn more about this if he had the time. It would be great if Matthew could give him some insights and suggestions. Of course, Matthew readily agreed to Su Yin's invitation. He had not seen Su Yin since the incident at the secret military base on the Pingding Mountain Island. The two of them agreed to meet at Quanjude Restaurant. After finishing his work, Matthew rushed over as fast as he could. What was the concept of brothers? They were usually busy with their own matters, and did not have the time to care about each other. However, once they met, there would be no sense of unfamiliarity. When Matthew arrived, Su Yin had already ordered the dishes. The moment Matthew sat down, he started talking nonstop. Qianfeng said that you have temporarily left the Dragon Brigade. What's the situation? Is this senior officer Wan's idea or your own? Hasn't the matter been settled? Are you angry that senior officer Wan did not arrange for anyone to go to that island? Su Yin laughed. If I don't even understand such a simple principle, I would have wasted my years in the brigade. I understand the brigade. If it were me, I would have made the same choice as him. Between personal interests and the country's reputation, which is more important, the commoners might not understand. However, as a soldier of the country, this is the most basic thing. Matthew raised his wine glass. I knew it was not your idea. Then is it Senior Officer Wan's idea? I don't think so. Su Yin smiled. Zhuo Lingyue was involved in this matter. He knew clearly whose idea it was. There are some things that cannot be explained clearly. Matthew knew that it was not convenient for Su Yin to talk about it, so he did not continue to ask. Well, no matter whose idea it is, as long as you are fine, it's fine. Come, let's have a toast. You can drink as much as you want. After all, there are rules in the army. Be prepared to sober up at any time. Su Yin smiled. He raised his head and drank. Matthew was not like him. He did not feel anything at all. Matthew did not hold back. He took a sip. It was so spicy that he sighed. People who could not handle alcohol were all like this. How's the matter of your group? Have you adapted to everything? It's the truth. I'm not used to it. Soo-yun waved his hand. There are too many trivial matters. Moreover, it's so troublesome. It's not refreshing at all. After all, it's not a matter of one person. Every little thing involves so many people. You just need to adapt to it. Matthew said. I have something to tell you today. Soo-yun ate while telling Matthew what Yu Jiaqian wanted to do. Although it was not particularly detailed, Matthew was also a person in the field of science, so it was not difficult for him to understand. When Soo-yun told this matter, Matthew showed a hint of excitement. I really did not expect that there would be such a bold person in our country. This matter is definitely worth doing. Although the probability of it becoming a reality is not high, once it becomes a reality, it will change the entire human race. Hearing Matthew's approval of this matter, Soo-yun was more confident in his heart. I don't understand these things. If you have any suggestions, you must help me. You also know Yu Jiaqian. You should have seen her, right? Yes. I have seen her. Matthew said, give me her phone number. If I have any ideas, I will inform her immediately. You also tell her that if she needs help, she can look for me directly. As long as I can help, I will do my best. Yu Jiaqian's father became an innocent victim because of Matthew's matter. This was also why Matthew felt that he owed her. With your words, it's fine. Soo-yun. I'm relieved to leave this matter to you. Come, have another drink. I haven't seen you for so many days. Do you have dark circles under your eyes? What good things are you researching? This topic also opened up Matthew's chatterbox. Haha, you are right. I have been researching a new weapon these days. It's called... Wait, this is a military secret. You can't talk about it. We are in the hall. Soo-yun whispered with a smile. I am not a member of the army now. The two of them laughed and sang happily again, completely unaware that at the entrance of the roast duck restaurant, a pair of sharp eyes were quietly watching them. Chapter 1509. The busy and complicated work made Soo-yun so relaxed for a long time. The two talked happily for more than 2 hours. Lin-gu, who went to deal with some private affairs alone, also rushed back after finishing his work. It was getting late, so he sent Matthew back first. Soo-yun and Lin-gu once again set off on the highway back to Qingdao. On the way, Soo-yun fell asleep. With so many things to worry about, his brain would naturally feel particularly tired. Lin-gu also turned off the car stereo directly, so that Soo-yun could sleep more comfortably. It was early in the morning when they returned to Qingdao. Lin-gu had worked hard all the way. Soo-yun hurriedly asked him to go back and rest. This guy had already lived with Fangya. Soo-yun would feel very sorry if he delayed his night. After Lin-gu left, Soo-yun returned to the suite in the movie hotel that was specially reserved for him. He took a quick shower and directly lay on the bed. His body, which was originally physically and mentally tired, was not sleepy after such a torment. He tossed and turned but couldn't fall asleep. Looking at the ceiling of the hotel, Soo-yun somewhat missed the time when he had just moved to the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Although the room was small, it had the taste of home. Since the Hudong International Hotel became the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel, his life was inseparable from the hotel rooms. However, whether it was the 3-star standard room of the Medicinal Cuisine Hotel, the 5-star suite of the Xinjiang Hotel, or the suite of the movie hotel that was as luxurious as the 7-star sailing hotel in Dubai, none of them could be compared with the small room of the Medicinal Cuisine restaurant. The room always had a feeling that it was not home. Even if the entire hotel belonged to Soo-yun, he would still feel strange and uncomfortable. Soo-yun didn't have this feeling before, but now that Lin-gu had moved to live with Fangya, Soo-yun's feeling was particularly strong. The feeling of home made Soo-yun feel very envious. He said that he went to talk to Matthew about Yu Jiaqian's plan. Lin-gu didn't go with him. Instead, he looked for a shop that sold donkey rolls in the alleys of Beijing. Fangya loved to eat sweet things, and the rolling donkey in Beijing was definitely one of her favorite desserts. Lin-gu heard that there was an old shop in a certain alley, so he spent 2 hours looking for it today. Although it was just a simple roll of yellow rice dough with bean paste, after rolling it on top of the soybean flour, the little thing that made Soo-yun feel the feeling of starting a family and starting a career. She believed that the soft and sticky texture of rolling donkey would definitely make their little life even more perfect. Thinking of this, Su Yin felt a little guilty. He wasn't as attentive as Lin Gu. He didn't even know what the people who cared about him liked to eat. On the contrary, Ruan Qingshuang would always cook a bowl of calming and nourishing porridge for him when he returned late and didn't sleep. Bang, bang, bang. The knocking on the door made Su Yin startled. Could it be that what he wanted came true? Did Ruan Qingshuang really bring porridge for him? No. Su Yin quickly denied the thought in his heart. He knew that Ruan Qingshuang was currently in Jibei taking over Zhou Meiyan's job at Sky Entertainment. Zhou Meiyan had already flown to Hong Kong and Macau to attend an event. Su Yin got up and opened the door. It was actually Fan Bing. He couldn't help but be startled. After dealing with the matter last time, Fan Bing should have gone to film. How could she still be in the hotel? Mr. Su, you're really back. Fan Bing smiled and looked into the room. It's so late. I hope I didn't disturb your rest. Su Yin shook his head and invited her in. No, I haven't slept yet. Hee, I couldn't sleep just now. I was looking at the scenery by the window in the guest room when I saw your car arrive. Fan Bing said. I didn't expect you to be so busy at this time. I didn't want to disturb you, but I really couldn't sleep. I wanted to try my luck and see if you were asleep. Su Yin smiled. Have you been on the Guqin Island these days? Yes, I haven't left yet after you called me to Qingdao. Fan Bing said. I was about to leave that day when I received a call from the crew saying that the director is sick. He has a high fever and is taking a few days off to rest. It won't be too late to go back when I receive another call. Then you should take the opportunity to rest well, Su Yin said. Why don't you sleep early? Aren't you worried about your skin? I am worried, Fan Bing said, but it's useless to worry. Insomnia isn't something that can be controlled. I want to sleep too, but I can't sleep when I lie in bed and look at the ceiling of the hotel. I really can't sleep. Why? Fan Bing was slightly stunned. She lowered her head and said, I don't want to stay in a hotel. It doesn't feel like home. I don't even remember how many times I can stay at home in a year. I always feel like I'm staying in a hotel every day. Other than a hotel, it's just a hotel. I want my own bed, my own quilt, my own sofa. I want to wake up every morning and enjoy the sunshine in front of my window. Su Yin couldn't sleep today because of this. They immediately had a common topic. I don't like to stay in a hotel either. Tisk, don't give me that. You're the boss. You can stay wherever you want. You can even afford the Forbidden City. Fan Bing stuck out her tongue. I'm different. I stay in a hotel because of work. I have no choice. You can be willful because you have money. We are different. Su Yin smiled bitterly. We are indeed different. I'm worse off than you. You have a home, but you can't go back because of work. I don't even have a home. How can I go back? Fan Bing was taken aback. Of course, she had heard about Su Yin's past. The issue of having a family was definitely a pain in his heart. She felt a little apologetic that she shouldn't have brought it up. She quickly changed the topic. Then let's start a family. Get married, have a chubby son, and give the people of Sky Entertainment a little prince. A year ago, Su Yin was still called a prince in their mouths. Now he was about to become a king. Time really is a butcher's knife. Su Yin smiled bitterly. It's easy to say. It's not that easy to get married. Su Yin. Getting married and having a family means that the responsibility on your shoulders will be heavier. I don't think I have the courage to do that. Marriage phobia. Fan Bing said affirmatively. Mr. Su, if you're afraid of marriage, what about other men? There's no other young and promising company boss like you in all of Huaxia. You have the looks, the career, and the wealth. Phew. I really don't understand why you're afraid of marriage. Su Yin shook his head. It's not that I'm afraid of marriage. I just don't think it's easy to bear this responsibility. Like you said, having a child and being a father. Haha. The identity of a father is really too vague in my mind. Fan Bing was stunned. It seemed that no matter what she said, Mr. Su's thoughts wouldn't change. Mr. Su, actually being a father isn't difficult. You just have to set an example. It's easy to say. Su Yin. Do you know how much influence a child's family environment and parents have on a child? Maybe I don't have the right to say it, because I don't even remember what my father looks like. However, I have a lot of people around me. Their different personalities are all influenced by their different family environments and parents' personalities. For example, Fan Bing propped up her chin curiously. Suyin shrugged. For example, I have a friend whose father loves to drink. When my friend was young, he only had memories of his father getting drunk. Every time his father got drunk, he would be very upset and scared. It's because of this environment that he especially likes to be quiet and not messy. He doesn't even like to make friends with people who like to drink, because he hates people who get excited when they drink too much. Fan Bing nodded. She agreed. She especially hated her father drinking too. Now, my friend is already 30 years old, but he still gets upset every time he sees his father drinking. Su-yun. This is the influence a father has on his child. Maybe this makes people who like to drink feel that it's not a problem at all. He's already 30 years old. Why does he still care about this? Actually, he cares a lot. So this influence is really too big. It's hard to change in a lifetime. So you're afraid that you won't be a good father? So you won't have a family? Fan Bing asked. Su-yun looked at himself up and down. Yes, I'm quite afraid. After a pause, Su-yun couldn't help but laugh. Ha ha ha, I don't even have a candidate to get married to. It's a bit early to talk about children. I'm really sorry. Chapter 15:10. Mr. Su, you really know how to joke. You don't even have a candidate for marriage? Fan Bing chuckled. I think you have too many candidates around you. Are you blind? If you say this to outsiders, they may believe you. But if you say it to your own people, I'm afraid no one will believe you. Su-yun shook his head. Don't make fun of me. Look at me. Who dares to marry someone like me? I can't even manage a company. Who dares to rely on me? No one wants me. If you say you want to get married, even if we break our heads, we won't be able to get a place in your heart. Fan Bing said half jokingly and half seriously. President Zhua and President Ruan are still eyeing you covetously. What's more, our Sky Entertainment's sister Jiling calls you brother and sister. Do you know the artists in the company all call you Sister Qing? There were so many artists in the company. Su-yun could control one person's mouth, but he couldn't control everyone's mouth. It was inevitable that people would talk about this kind of thing. Ling Jiling had a lot of topics to talk about. Besides, he and she had experienced some things together, and everyone in the company knew about it. It's fine if you say this to me. I'm easy to bully. But don't let this spread to Mr. Zhua's ears. Otherwise you'll suffer. Su-yun smiled bitterly and helplessly. Who was the one who started this nonsense? Is it because the pressure at work is not great enough? If it's not big enough, I'll find something for you to do. Fan Bing shook her head vigorously. Don't look at me. I don't dare to say such things. If I say it, someone will definitely use it against me and say that I'm jealous. I don't want to cause trouble for myself. I just think that Mr. Su should really find someone. Otherwise, you'll always be seducing our hearts. Su-yun looked at Fan Bing helplessly. What's wrong? I've always been a straightforward person. Fan Bing said. All the female artists in the company want to be the boss's wife. If they say no, they're all hypocrites. I'm not that hypocritical. I'll say what I want. If I have the chance, I'll definitely not let you go. It's just that I'm a realistic person. I know that if there's no chance, there's no point in forcing myself. Am I right? Don't scare me. Su-yun. Do you know how many men in the country are infatuated with you? What successful career? What high position? What mature man? What fresh meat? What people who are infatuated with you? You can pick any one of them and they'll be better than me. Fan Bing pursed her lips. Forget it. Mature men are old men, and young men are pretty boys. I don't like either. Then what do you like? Su-yun smiled. I'll keep an eye out for you and see if I have such a type around me. I like you the way you are. He's young and promising. His charm is boundless. Fan Bing smiled half-jokingly. Director Su, a lot of people say that I've been single all this time, because I want to marry into a rich family. I really want to tear the mouth of the person who said that. It's simply a waste of gas. I entered Sky Entertainment when I was 16. I've been here for more than 10 years. Many people know how much I've earned. I still have the 0.5% shares that old Tai Sui gave me. Although these shares are nothing in your eyes in the whole country, I'm considered rich. Do I still need to marry into a rich family? What a joke. He had to admit that Suyin didn't expect Fan Bing to be so direct. She didn't mince her words at all. Suyin nodded. You really are rich. Then let's see which pretty boy will be lucky enough to marry into your rich family. We have so many outstanding single men in Sky Entertainment. You can't find someone in the same circle. How many people in the same circle get married, and in the end, people don't believe in love anymore? I don't like pretty boys. Fan Bing was even more direct. If I hadn't met Director Su before, some of them were not bad in my eyes. But if I compare them to you, they all lack the aura of a tough guy. I don't know how to explain it. I just feel that when I compare them to you, they're a bunch of sissies. Suyin couldn't help but laugh. Don't say that in front of outsiders. There are so many tough guys in Sky Entertainment. Fan Bing stuck out her tongue. The screen is the screen. Life is life. A good man on the screen might not necessarily be a guy who indulged in eating, drinking, whoring, and gambling in private. A bad guy on the screen might not be a bad guy in real life. Life is like a play. It's all about acting. The screen is a play within a play. The other day, a teacher told me what an actor's profession is. To put it bluntly, isn't it just acting? This was indeed straightforward enough. Director Su, if there comes a day when I don't want to be an actor anymore, would it be a pity? Do you think it's a pity? Fan Bing said. Suyin nodded. Of course it would be a pity. There aren't many actors in Huaxia who can go international. You're one of them. If you suddenly say that you don't want to be an actor anymore, it'll be a loss to Huaxia's film industry. When a person often has to pretend to be someone else, they'll slowly lose themselves. They'll slowly realize that they don't even know who they are anymore. Fan Bing seemed a little lost. Suyin knew that when an actor came out of their cocoon, there would be a period of confusion. Because they were too immersed in the role, their mental state would be affected. This kind of thing usually happened to people who had been filming for 5 or 6 years and had undergone a fundamental change. Fan Bing should have walked out of this bottleneck many years ago. But now, she had suddenly walked into this vicious circle? Have you been too immersed in the roles you've been filming recently? Suyin said calmly. Actually, when you're resting, don't think so much about work. Let yourself relax. Sometimes, people really need to not think about anything, especially work. Fan Bing shrugged. Maybe. Every time I think about work, I lose sleep. I can't sleep at all. Without waiting for Suyin to speak, Fan Bing said, It's getting late. I won't disturb you any longer. I'll leave first. Suyin was long awake because of the conversation just now. But after all, it was the middle of the night. He couldn't force a girl to stay in his room. That could easily cause misunderstandings. Then go back to your room and rest early. I'm tired too. I won't keep you. After Fan Bing left, Suyin lay on the bed again and stared at the ceiling in a daze. He didn't know if it was a strong sixth sense or some kind of premonition that made Suyin unable to sleep. After Fan Bing returned to her room, she closed the door and leaned against it. She seemed to be in a very bad state. She took a deep breath and tried to lift her spirits. But her body slowly slid down involuntarily. It wasn't until Fan Bing squatted on the ground that her trembling body stopped. She didn't know whether her decision was right or wrong, but she was sure that she would be severely punished for making a decision without permission. She really shouldn't have made a decision without permission, but she really couldn't make herself do that. So entangled. This entanglement was like a dagger, stirring fiercely in her heart. What should she do? Fan Bing definitely didn't lose sleep tonight. She waited until so late, but in the end, she still couldn't do what she should have done tonight. There was no way. There was really no way. When the phone rang, Fan Bing's heart was filled with fear. She picked up the phone in a panic, pulled out the battery as fast as she could, and threw it far away. Chapter 15:11. Suyin had insomnia at night, but once he fell asleep he had a good rest. He slept until 8:30 a.m. the next morning before he opened his eyes. After stretching a few times, Su-Yun got up and went to wash up. Wan Qingshuang and Zhu Meiyan were not in Qingdao, and Bai Xiaoya must be working at this time. Su-Yun thought for a while and decided to find Fan Bing to have breakfast with him. Because she also had insomnia last night, she might still be sleeping. Sure enough, as Su-Yun had expected, Bai Xiaoya had already started working. She liked her life and work very much. Every day was very fulfilling, and her life was very meaningful. Perhaps this was the only way to make her forget those troublesome things and troubles. You came back very late last night? Bai Xiaoya saw Su-Yun come to her office and looked up to greet him. Then, she continued to look at some documents on the table. Why didn't you sleep a little longer? I slept enough. Su-Yun. You must have eaten, right? Yes, of course. Bai Xiaoya pointed at the clock that was about to hit 9 a.m. It will be lunchtime in 3 hours. Go and see if there's any food at the breakfast restaurant. Go and eat something. Su-Yun nodded. Which room is Fan Bing in? I'll ask her to eat with me. Bai Xiaoya was stunned. She hasn't left yet? Hasn't she been staying here for the past few days? Su-Yun was very sure that it was Fan Bing last night. He couldn't have been sleepy. Bai Xiaoya thought for a while. If she hasn't left, she's in room 1808. That's strange. If she's been in Qingdao for the past few days, I should have seen her. I haven't seen her. Could it be that she's been in the hotel room for the past few days? Su-Yun shrugged. That's hard to say. Maybe she's cultivating in seclusion. You do your work. I'm going to eat. Fan Bing might have already eaten. It's almost time for her beauty sleep. Who has the time to eat breakfast with you? Bai Xiaoya mumbled a few words before she lowered her head and continued to deal with her work. She was overwhelmed by work. Su-Yun ran to room 1808, but there was no one there. After asking around, he found out that the room had already been checked out. Su-Yun suspected that Bai Xiaoya had remembered wrongly, so he went to the front desk to check. Yes, Mr. Su. Fan Bing is indeed staying in room 1808, but she checked out at 5 in the morning. The receptionist said, there are records here. Because I came to change shifts at 7:30, I don't know the details. Since there was a record, it must be correct. Su-Yun nodded. Okay, it's fine. You can continue with your work. After eating something casually, Su-Yun rushed to his office at the Film and Television Plaza. Although he was a leader, he couldn't wander around during normal working hours. If his subordinates saw him, it would be a negative influence. Su-Yun was a person full of positive energy. How could he give his employees that kind of feeling? He had to set an example. Fan Bing checked out at 5. Su-Yun was quite puzzled. It seemed that her insomnia was much worse than his. She probably didn't sleep the whole night. As long as he arrived at the company, there must be something to deal with. Soon, Su-Yun forgot about this matter. When Fan Bing was 16 years old, Zhang Taisui had taken a fancy to her and signed her under Sky Entertainment. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 years had passed. Fan Bing had grown from an ignorant young girl to a mature goddess. Although she was no longer a little fresh meat, her every move was filled with seductive charm. Such a woman, even if she wasn't in the entertainment circle, would be the focus of attention. In the entertainment circle, she was a dazzling star that was sought after. Behind a dazzling star, there were always paparazzi and reporters from various tabloids and magazines. When Fan Bing had a lot of people in her team, she could get rid of these annoying shadows. When she was alone, she could never get rid of them. That was why Fan Bing rarely did anything by herself. Perhaps this was the pain of being at the center of attention. Many people might envy her, but they didn't see the tiredness and troubles behind this kind of thing. After Fan Bing checked out of the hotel, she didn't leave Qingdao. Instead, she drove around the streets and alleys of Qingdao aimlessly. Halfway, she went to a gas station. After filling up the gas, she began to drive around the streets and alleys of Qingdao aimlessly. The Audi R8 was already eye-catching, and this was a pink one. It was hard for Fan Bing not to be noticed. After the pink Audi R8 drove around Qingdao for several hours, Fan Bing still clearly knew that there were 2 small tails that she hadn't gotten rid of. However, She didn't have time to waste. Since they were willing to follow her, they brought all the consequences on themselves. She had given them a chance, but they were too persistent and didn't see the opportunity passing by. Soon, Fan Bing's car had a destination. In the east of Qingdao, in a relatively less prosperous area, there was a high-rise parking lot. The parking lot was built with more than 10 floors, and there was a circular driveway that went all the way up. However, the elevator in this parking lot broke down a few days ago. The maintenance worker accidentally fell into the elevator shaft on the top floor and died on the spot. Therefore, this place temporarily closed the parking lot above the 4th floor. The circular driveway on the 4th floor was blocked by a banner with the reason written on it. However, because of the strong wind, the banner was blown away. No one cared about this small matter anymore, because even a fool wouldn't drive up to more than 10 floors and then walk down. The elevator was broken. It didn't seem tiring to walk down, but what about when they came back? Wouldn't they have to climb more than 10 floors? With the mentality of modern people, they were reluctant to walk up to the 2nd and 3rd floors. Whoever climbed more than 10 floors would be stupid. Therefore, no one really parked above the 4th floor of this high-rise parking lot. It wasn't that the quality of the people had really improved to this point, but that no one was willing to spend the effort to climb the stairs. However, Fan Bing didn't. She drove all the way up, past the 5th floor, the 6th floor, the 7th floor, the 8th floor. Just like that, she drove all the way to the top. The parking lot on the top floor. Usually, even if the elevator wasn't broken, few people would park at such a high place. It could only mean that this kind of high-rise parking lot didn't need to exist at such a high place. Although there were a lot of cars now, and parking had become a huge problem for everyone, no one was willing to park at such a high place. Although the 2 paparazzi cars behind Fan Bing's car were somewhat puzzled, they still drove up regardless of their lives. Fan Bing would go to such a place where there was no one. Maybe there was a secret that couldn't be revealed. If they could get a photo, they would definitely be able to sell it for a very high price. When the 2 paparazzi cars followed to the top floor of the high-rise parking lot, not only did they see Fan Bing's pink Audi R8, but they also saw a luxury car of unknown brand. Perhaps it was a custom-made car, so they had never seen it before. Just as the paparazzi who were following them were exclaiming that they would definitely be able to get some explosive news, a heavy punch suddenly shattered the side window of the driver's seat. How heavy was that punch? There was no way to estimate it, right? The paparazzi in the car didn't even have the chance to treat the wound on his face that was scratched by the glass. The person who smashed the glass directly pulled open the car door and threw him out of the car. He rolled a few times before coming to a stop. He was still in shock and hadn't reacted to what had happened. The 2 men in black who could smash a car window with one punch were tall and powerful. They directly picked up the 2 paparazzi in the 2 cars, as if they were carrying little chicks, and walked unhurriedly to the elevator. At this time, the 2 paparazzi who were still in shock finally reacted. It can't be, right? They were thrown to their deaths just for doing such a small thing. No. Save us. I beg you, please let us go. We won't dare to do it again. At this time, Fan Bing walked out of the car and shouted softly, "Stop." The 2 tall and powerful men in black stopped in their tracks, but they were very puzzled. After all, these 2 people had followed them and seen something they shouldn't have seen. Couldn't they leave them alive? Chapter 15:12. Fan Bing could read the doubt in the eyes of these 2 guys, so she said faintly, "It's your business how you want to deal with it, but you can't deal with it here. There are so many people in Qingdao City. I'm afraid it's not just the 2 of them who saw me drive to this place. If something happens to them here, the police will investigate. If I can't get away with it, it will also implicate the boss. After all, when the boss's car drove here, I believe someone must have witnessed it, right?" Hearing these words, the 2 strong men in black threw back the 2 paparazzi in their hands. Indeed, it was very easy to kill these 2 people, but if the boss and Fan Bing were implicated because of these 2 people, it was not worth it. The lives of these 2 people were the same no matter where they were. The 2 people who survived nodded and bowed to thank them. They almost knelt down and kowtowed. However, although they survived, the 2 men in black did not intend to let them go. When one of them stood up and wanted to escape, the man in black directly stepped on his lumbar spine. His whole body crashed to the ground with a bang. No one knew if his bones were broken or if he could survive. Seeing the consequences of running away, the other guy didn't dare to move at all. He just stood there, absolutely motionless no matter how the wind blew or the rain hit him. These people were really terrifying. The aura emitted from their bodies was so dangerous. He was just a puppy. How could he have seen such a scene? It was not like he was shooting a movie. Don't make the murderous aura here so strong. Fan Bing frowned. Obviously, she did not want these people to kill people in front of her at all. This kind of scene made her feel really, really uncomfortable. At this time, the luxury car without any brand logo finally opened the door. First, a very heroic young man came out. Then, a man wearing sunglasses and holding a cigar in his hand slowly walked out. To be exact, he should be a middle-aged man, at least 60 years old. Men at this age often liked to say that they had been buried in the yellow soil up to their waist. If it were not for the fact that their children were disappointing and needed to earn money to support their families, most of them would have retired at this age. However, the man in front of her didn't seem that old. In comparison, he looked more like a 45-year-old man who was in the prime of his career. Ha ha ha, Fan Bing. Oh Fan Bing, you're getting better at talking. The man said. I'm afraid they're not the only ones who saw you drive to this place. You're saying this to me, right? When Fan Bing saw this man, she quickly restrained herself. She lowered her head and said, Fan Bing doesn't dare to speak to the boss. I really don't want the boss to get into unnecessary trouble. Yes, yes. You can think for me. Good, good. I have not misjudged you all these years. I did not think highly of you for nothing. The man did not take off his sunglasses from beginning to end. No one could see his eyes, and he did not have any expression. It was difficult to read anything from his face. When Fan Bing heard this, she couldn't help but feel nervous. Fan Bing has let you down. Please punish me. Where did that come from? The man said, You know my rules. Things, success or failure, are not my only criteria for punishment. I need a reason. Give me a reason. Fan Bing was silent. She didn't know how to answer. The middle-aged man seemed to be very patient. He didn't rush Fan Bing. Instead, he took a deep puff of his cigar and looked at the two paparazzi. TSK, TSK, TSK. Such young people. Why can't they do something else? Why do they have to do things like prying into other people's secrets? Boss, you're a magnanimous person. A prime minister's stomach is big enough to support a boat, and a general's chest is big enough to run a horse. Just let us go like farts. Most of the paparazzi were panicking. They didn't care about their dignity at all. They directly knelt on the ground and began to kowtow to the man in front of them. Please, please. I swear, I will pretend that I didn't see anything today. I swear. I swear. If I tell anyone what I saw today, I will be struck by lightning. The man slowly sighed. Sigh. Young people nowadays are getting weaker and weaker. They don't even know what backbone is. Backbone? Can backbone be eaten? Could one survive with a backbone? The two paparazzi didn't want to have any backbone now. They knew that the secret they had spied on was too big. It was big enough to be killed. Fan Bing had a headache. She had dumped them for so many hours, but she still couldn't shake them off. It seemed that this was fate. This was the fate of these two guys. Men have gold under their knees. How can they worship others? The man said, You two are so spineless. If I were your parents, I would definitely be disappointed. Young people, remember, kneel to your ancestors, kneel to your parents. You can't even kneel to heaven and earth casually. Do you understand? The two nodded repeatedly. As they knelt and kowtowed, they said, Understood, understood. Seeing their behavior, the man shook his head in disappointment and said helplessly, It seems that you still don't understand. Those who truly understood his words had already stood up. There was gold under a man's knees. This sentence was not as simple as it sounded. Many people might not understand the true meaning of this sentence in their entire lives. No matter how much the two of them begged for mercy, the mysterious boss ignored them. Later on, he was annoyed and just waved his hand. The two men in black found something and stuffed the two of them in their mouths. One of them still wanted to express something, but he was kicked in the head and fainted. Fan Bing watched everything that happened in front of her coldly. She didn't want this to happen. After all, the two paparazzi were innocent people. However, all of this wasn't something she could decide. She didn't have the right to help these two innocent paparazzi, because she couldn't even protect herself today. The man waited expressionlessly and silently for more than a minute. Then he took a deep breath and slowly said, "How about it, Fan Bing? The time I gave you is enough for you to consider a satisfactory reply, right? Where's the reason I want?" Fan Bing bit her lower lip and said with difficulty, "There's no reason." When the boss wanted to get an answer, if you didn't speak, you would definitely end up worse than giving him an answer that he wasn't satisfied with. Therefore, even if Fan Bing didn't know how to answer, she could only bite the bullet and speak. The man was stunned by this answer. What did this mean? No reason. What was the difference between saying and not saying this answer? "Boss, let me explain." Fan Bing's expression was very ugly. She didn't know how to explain, so she could only make up a story. "Actually, no need." The man suddenly interrupted Fan Bing. "I don't like to listen to lies. Just now you said that there was no reason. Although this answer made me very dissatisfied. However, I believe that this is the truth. However, no matter what you're going to say next, I won't believe it. Because I've lived for so many years, experienced so many things, and met so many people. My experience tells me that what you're going to say next must be a lie." Fan Bing looked at the man in front of her with a face full of sincerity and fear. The thing that the boss hated the most was to be lied to. Although she hadn't spoken yet, when these words reached her ears, she still felt terrified. "Fan Bing." The handsome young man behind the man suddenly spoke. "The boss has already given you a chance. You better not disappoint the boss. Tell the truth. I don't need you to interrupt." The man's words made the young man behind him shut up. He looked at him impatiently. "I think what you need to do the most at your age is to listen more, see more, and do more. But you must speak less." The young man nodded and said seriously, "Yes, boss." Chapter 15:13. Fan Bing lowered her head and remained silent for a while. The mysterious boss wasn't in a hurry. He didn't show any signs of impatience. In his eyes, if a person could quietly think about what kind of mistake they made, then even if he had to spend more time, it would be worth it. "Boss, I was wrong. Please give me another chance. I will definitely seize this opportunity and not disappoint you again." Fan Bing knew that the boss had been waiting for her to speak, but she hadn't. If this continued, it would be an endless wait. To anyone, this was meaningless. "Fan Bing." The man's smile was unfathomable. Many young people complain that they don't have opportunities. What is opportunity? Is it just a favorable situation with time? Wrong. This is just a superficial explanation. Where does opportunity come from? Have you ever thought about it? Opportunity isn't given to you by others. You have to fight for it yourself. Fan Bing lowered her head and listened to all this scolding. She believed that anyone who saw this scene would be completely lost. Fan Bing was just an artist under the Sky Entertainment Group. Therefore, Su Yun was her boss. However, in front of Su Yun, she didn't panic and fear like she was treading on thin ice in front of this man. This middle-aged man's every move seemed to be able to make Fan Bing's nerves tense. If it was said that she was respectful to Su Yun's boss, then she was definitely fearful to this middle-aged boss. People of the secular world don't care about their aspirations. They chase for fame and fortune. They come and go. When it's convenient, they take first and don't give up. When there's an opportunity, they sell it. If it's like this, then it's better not to have it. The middle-aged man slowly said, "Do you know where this saying comes from?" But before Fan Bing could speak, he continued, "Forget it. Just pretend I didn't ask. Young people nowadays don't like reading ancient literature. It's impossible for them to read such a cold book. Fan Bing, you have to remember that a wise person will always seize opportunities and turn them into a better future." "Yes, I will remember, boss." Fan Bing nodded. "Do you know why I'm telling you this?" The man said, "Because the look in your eyes when you spoke to me just now wasn't firm at all. I can't believe you at all. I can't believe that you won't disappoint me again. Do you understand? You said you wanted a chance, but you didn't show your desire for a chance. This is what I'm very, very disappointed about. Fan Bing didn't dare to refute him. No matter what he said was right or wrong, she had to listen and listen carefully. You know very well who gave you everything you have today. The middle-aged man's tone became heavier. Before I met you, I always thought that stories like The Little Match Girl were just lies and fairy tales. But you made me change my mind. Boss, don't say any more. Fan Bing really did not want to remember everything that had happened in the past. In this world, there was absolutely no one who would believe that the popular goddess who was now infinitely popular had fallen and pitiful in the past. It was simply unimaginable. Fan Bing knew what kindness was. She also knew that she could never repay the kindness of saving her life. So no matter what kind of task the man in front of her gave her, she would complete it wholeheartedly and do her best to complete it. When she was 8 years old, she was really just a little girl who carried a wooden box and sold matches and cigarettes on the street. Who would dare to believe it? After all, when Fan Bing was 8 years old, it was no longer the old society. The Huaxia had long been liberated, and the people had long been the masters. But no one could deny that in that era, there were really many poor families who could not even afford to eat. Fan Bing's family was one of the thousands of poor families. What was even more pitiful was that she had a father who was addicted to alcohol. Her father, who was often drunk, would vent his anger on Fan Bing every time. The 8-year-old Fan Bing was ruthlessly kicked out of the house on the eve of New Year's Eve in the cold winter, and sold matches and cigarettes on the street. At that time, she did not wear too many clothes. It was definitely not like now. For the sake of her image, she could not afford to wear cotton-padded clothes at all. The cotton in her cotton-padded jacket and trousers was already as thin as a layer of paper. Fan Bing, who was desperate, could not stand the piercing cold wind. She did not light the matches to keep warm, but to vent the anger in her heart. She really did not want to live in this world. If it was not for her mother, When Fan Bing thought of her mother, she suddenly realized that she had already lit the matches. Fan Bing absolutely did not dare to think about what the consequences would be like. Fan Bing, who was afraid, cold, and hungry, curled up in the corner of the street. Slowly, her body began to stiffen and her consciousness began to blur. She, who was already sensible, seemed to know that the Grim Reaper was waving at her. Was she going to leave just like that? To be honest, Fan Bing was unwilling, but what could she do? When a hamburger was placed in front of Fan Bing really thought that she was in heaven. In that era, what was a hamburger? Only the children of very, very rich families could afford to eat Western food. She had only eaten this kind of stuffing since she was young, and it was only steamed buns with tofu milk. Fan Bing raised her head and looked at the person who changed her life. When she was 8 years old, she was sent to a training camp, a place that was rarely inhabited. Her parents received a sum of money that was enough for them to be rich, and Fan Bing began the hellish training. In the beginning, no one could bear it. It was simply unbearable. Fan Bing began to regret it. She regretted it for 3 whole years, but after 3 years, she got used to it. She got used to everything here, used to all the inhuman suffering. She stayed there for 8 whole years. During those years, she did not even know how she endured, but she gritted her teeth and persevered. Then she was sent to a film academy. In less than 3 months, she was chosen by a director to star in a TV series that Sky Entertainment invested in. Then she began to enter people's eyes. Just like that, when she returned to Huaxia at the age of 16, her identity had changed from a little match girl to a well-known star. Year after year passed. She waited in Sky Entertainment year after year. Finally, one day, she suddenly realized that she had fallen in love with her identity as an actress. Slowly, she even forgot her true purpose. Just like that, who knew how many years passed in the blink of an eye? Suddenly one day, Zhang Taisui left. At this moment, Fan Bing's true purpose for coming to Sky Entertainment was awakened once again. She realized that even though no one had contacted her for so many years, and no one had mentioned this matter to her, this matter could never be forgotten. She had been sent here for so many years. Her identity was definitely not just an actress. After being an actress for so many years, Fan Bing had really forgotten her identity. And just a few days ago, her boss suddenly appeared in front of her. Fan Bing knew that everything had started anew. She could not continue to be a small actress so easily. Her identity was no longer that simple. And her first task when she saw her boss was to make her unable to do anything. Even though she had come here more than 10 years ago, she knew her purpose. Her boss had ordered her to do it last night, but she really could not do it. Chapter 15-14. The middle-aged man looked at Fan Bing in confusion. I really don't understand this. You've been in Sky Entertainment for so many years, and you've never had any contact with Su Yun. There's no reason why you couldn't do it, right? You have to remember that you don't have any relationship with him. Even if Zhang Mianji did you a favor, it's Zhang Mianji's favor, not Su Yun's. There's a saying that every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. Don't use the gratitude you have for Zhang Mianji on this matter. The boss was right. Fan Bing couldn't kill Su Yun because of Zhang Taisui's kindness to her. However, that wasn't the real reason why she couldn't kill him. It was just a hidden influence. She really couldn't tell the real reason why she couldn't kill him. If the boss had ordered her to kill Su Yun as soon as he appeared in Sky Entertainment, she might have been able to kill him because she didn't need to think too much. However, she didn't receive the order at that time. Although Su Yun didn't always work in Sky Entertainment, ever since that day, she had heard all kinds of stories and legends about this promising young man. Every anime otaku had their own image of a superhero in their heart, and every girl had their own image of a prince on a white horse in their heart. Since Su Yun appeared, Fan Bing kept watching him. She even felt lucky that she didn't receive the order to kill him. Just like that, Fan Bing silently watched Su Yun until the ribbon-cutting ceremony of Sky Entertainment's Qingdao Film and Television base. The night before that day, Fan Bing received the order to kill him. That time, Fan Bing disobeyed the order. She didn't kill him, which made the boss very disappointed. The boss asked her for a reasonable reason. Fan Bing said that the whole world was watching this moment. Asking her to kill Su Yun at this time was no different from throwing herself and her organization out for the experts in the country to investigate. At that time, the boss forgave her. After all, she had been undercover for so many years. It wasn't easy for anyone. He should give her a chance. Therefore, Fan Bing had a second chance. This time, her boss's men had been watching Su Yun in Beijing. They knew what time Su Yun would go to Quanjude and return to Qingdao. Everything was under their control. Last night, Su Yun returned to the hotel, and Lin Ge left. He was alone and it was so late. It was definitely the best opportunity for Fan Bing to make a move. Fan Bing wasn't suffering from insomnia. She had received an order from her boss to get rid of Su Yun immediately. However, when she walked into Su Yun's room, Fan Bing felt very comfortable seeing Su Yun's lack of defense. She definitely couldn't kill someone who sincerely treated her as a friend. She couldn't do it. She couldn't do it at all. Fan Bing, I don't want you to forget why you joined Sky Entertainment in the first place. The middle-aged man's expression became ferocious and terrifying. I will never allow that man's son to live freely in this world. I will give you one last chance. Do what you should do in 3 days. Fan Bing whispered, yes. Also, I'm warning you. Although you're the one I value the most among all the talents I've cultivated, if you continue to disobey my orders, I won't appreciate you anymore. The middle-aged man said. Do you remember what I've said? Do I need to repeat it? No. Fan Bing said. Boss, I won't let you down again. The middle-aged man nodded. That's good. I believe that you said it from the bottom of your heart. Go do what you should do. Yes. Fan Bing received the order to leave. She didn't stay for a moment. She quickly got into the car and left the scene. Her mind was in a mess. She couldn't care less about the two paparazzi's life or death. She couldn't even save herself. Seeing Fan Bing's car disappear from their sight, the two panicked paparazzi tensed up again. They really regretted following her to this place. They wanted to get information that could be sold at a high price, but now they were in such a situation. Boss, these two people. The young man, who had been guarding behind the middle-aged man, looked at the two paparazzi and hesitated. Hearing this, the two paparazzi's hope of begging for mercy was ignited again. They began to beg for mercy. How do you think we should deal with them? The middle-aged man had always appreciated the disciple beside him. He didn't have any children. In the future, he hoped that he could take over everything. Let's hear it. The young man said yes, and then cautiously said, "Two small people. There's no need to be afraid. Send them away. After all, some time ago, Buddha said that you shouldn't kill recently. A bloody disaster will bring disaster to yourself." The middle-aged man snorted. When did I listen to the words of that old man, Buddha? I've known him for 30 years. He advised me not to do this and not to do that. He told me that karma is inevitable. Ha ha ha, I've been waiting for my retribution. What about retribution? It's not time yet? Then when I die, it will be too late for retribution. Yes. The young man knew that his boss wasn't satisfied with his answer. Let me tell you, Ruan Han. Don't underestimate anyone. In this world, there's no such thing as an airtight wall. If you believe that these two small people are nothing to be afraid of and don't dare to speak of this matter, then you're wrong. Do you know what kind of people are suitable to keep secrets? The middle-aged man said. The young man was stunned. Dead people. There's another kind. The middle-aged man said, if a person has no eyes, no tongue, no ears, and no hands, then he can't speak of what he knows. That kind of person isn't called a dead person, but a human rod. The middle-aged man's words made the two paparazzi's hair stand on end. They really suspected that they had encountered the devil. To be a dead person or a human rod. Let them choose, the middle-aged man said. I'm not in the mood to care about these small matters. I'll leave it to you. Don't disappoint me. Yes, boss. Ruan Han knew that the boss's orders couldn't be disobeyed. The name Lin Yongha had disappeared from the underground world for many years. Not to mention that Su Yun's generation wouldn't remember such a person. Even if it was 3 to 5 years ago, there might not be anyone who still remembered her. Of course, there were still people who knew the name Lin Yongha. However, this name really hadn't appeared for a long time. No one would think of it. Similarly, no one was willing to think of this person. But Fan Bing was different. This name was the deepest secret buried in her heart. This name was an order and instruction that she could never disobey. This name, every time it was mentioned, it would make Fan Bing feel very painful. She was entangled in all this. On one hand, she couldn't disobey the order of the person who gave the order. On the other hand, she didn't want to kill people. Fan Bing's heart was completely in a struggle. She was so upset that she completely forgot to step on the accelerator. The acceleration of such a supercar was often uncontrollable. When Fan Bing realized that her emotions were wrong, she couldn't control it anymore. Bang dash. At the moment when the car collided, Fan Bing really hoped that it would end like this. Perhaps if it ended, she wouldn't have to be entangled anymore. Could it be that this was the arrangement of God? At the moment when Fan Bing was unconscious, a person's appearance appeared in her mind. But no matter how hard she tried, there was no way to see the person's appearance clearly. If there was any regret in leaving this world, Fan Bing could only say that she hadn't paid back the kindness. As for the others, she didn't care. Chapter 15:15. This situation was purely an accident, and Fan Bing did not intend to let herself fall into such a disaster. However, if she wanted to turn back and redo what had happened, it was something that would never happen again. In the past 2 days, the entertainment headlines on the websites and newspapers all over the country were almost all occupied by Fan Bing's car accident, especially in Qingdao. After all, it was the place where the accident happened, and the streets and alleys were talking about it. Therefore, even if Lin Yongha didn't want to know about Fan Bing's accident, it was very difficult. He finally entrusted the task to Fan Bing. It wasn't that he didn't consider the possibility that she would fail, but he absolutely didn't expect that the failure would be in such a way. His mood couldn't be described as disappointment. A few hours after Fan Bing's accident, he was shocked by this small news. Ruan Han knew that the boss couldn't accept it, so he tried to persuade him. Boss, Fan Bing's character has always been very unique. If it's something she doesn't want to do, we shouldn't force her, right? Not only will it not be effective, but it will also be counterproductive. So you think her car accident was deliberately caused by herself? Lin Yonghe looked at Ruan Han with a very puzzled look. It seems that you really don't know Fan Bing. Boss, what do you mean? Ruan Han was stunned. Fan Bing had an accident right after meeting with them. Didn't it mean that this matter had something to do with them? Lin Yonghe shook his head. I know Fan Bing better than you. She wouldn't do such a stupid thing. Her car accident was definitely not her own intentional arrangement. She lost her goal. Do you understand? She lost her belief in her heart. She was full of rejection of what I asked her to do, so it made her mind chaotic. It was very easy for something to happen when she was driving on the road. Ruan Han nodded on the surface, but in his heart he thought, is this different from Fan Bing deliberately causing a car accident? It's all because she doesn't want to do her current task. Lin Yonghe seemed to have read Ruan Han's inner monologue. This is very different from her purposely causing a car accident. This kind of Fan Bing is even more dangerous, because she was thinking nonstop, which caused the accident. A person, as long as he knows how to think, is terrible. She will have her own conclusions. Speaking of which, Ruan Han still felt that the boss's words were very profound. It was very difficult for him to completely understand the meaning of these words. If she crashed the car because she couldn't disobey my order, it means that she would rather die than betray me. Lin Yonghe said, but Fan Bing is not that kind of person. She has her own thoughts. She has her own thoughts, which means that there are voices of betrayal in her mind. Those voices will make her do many things that even I cannot predict or judge. Ruan Han nodded as if he understood. As for why his boss would have such thoughts, he really couldn't figure it out. Boss, do you need me to monitor them further? Ruan Han volunteered. He knew that the boss liked people who took the initiative. He was able to gain the boss's trust and high regard because he was more proactive than anyone else. Lin Yonghe shook her head. There's no need. Fan Bing has a special reputation in society. She's a public figure. Many media outlets and reporters are watching her. At this time, the most important thing for us to do is to disappear. It won't be too late to come out when everything is calm. Yes. Ruan Han's answer was straightforward. Let her do whatever she wants now. Lin Yonghe said. No matter when, she is the most suitable person to do this. As for why, you can slowly understand it. I don't expect you to understand everything in a short time, but you must keep thinking. Only by thinking can you become a person who will not fail. Fan Bing opened her eyes and saw a vast white sea everywhere. This kind of white was so dazzling that there was no gentleness at all. She only felt that her whole body was sore and weak. Her head was so swollen that it almost made her collapse. Gradually, Fan Bing began to regain some of her consciousness. She remembered the car accident that caused her to fall into a coma, and also remembered the person she went to see before the car accident. The swollen pain in her head made it difficult for Fan Bing to open her eyes. When she was about to give up, she heard a familiar voice with a bit of excitement. You finally woke up. Fan Bing was very surprised. She absolutely couldn't believe that the first person she saw when she woke up was Su Yun. Su Yun nervously pressed the call button and asked the doctor to come quickly. Fan Bing had been in a coma for 2 days. Although the doctor said that she only had a slight concussion and fainted because of nervousness, Su Yun still felt worried. Fan Bing wanted to speak, but she found that her throat was so dry that she couldn't speak at all. Su Yun picked up the glass of water and put it down. Hold on for a while. Wait for the doctor to come and make sure that you are okay. Drink water then. Fan Bing didn't understand why he was such a careful boy. Hee. She really didn't expect that one day she would be personally taken care of by Su Yun. Could it be that she had already reached heaven? Was this a dream arranged by heaven for people? No, Fan Bing thought to herself. A person of her status would definitely not go to heaven if she died, because she didn't believe in God or Buddha. She only believed in herself in this life. If Buddha and God really existed, then she wouldn't believe in them because they were really abominable in Fan Bing's eyes. They gave her an incomparably miserable childhood. The doctor quickly rushed over and confirmed that Fanbing was fine. Only then did Su-Yun breathe a sigh of relief. When he received the news 2 days ago, he was really shocked. He really did not expect Fanbing to have such an accident. After Su-Yun confirmed with the doctor that Fanbing could drink water, he found a straw and let Fanbing drink some water to moisten her throat. Fanbing's dry throat finally opened. Mr. Su. Thank you. There's no need to thank me. Su-Yun. In the future, you must be careful when driving. You must not be distracted. This time you were lucky, so you only suffered a slight concussion. If it's unfortunate, then there's no medicine for regret. Fanbing's heart began to struggle again. At that time, she was conflicted about how to deal with Su-Yun, which caused the car accident. Now Su-Yun was by her bedside. This made Fanbing's heart feel really uncomfortable. She didn't understand why it was her, why she was in such a dilemma. I felt the power of the media. Su-Yun. After your accident, the order of the hospital was almost disrupted by a group of people with high professional quality, but no social quality. The day you were brought to the hospital, the ambulance couldn't even get out. The situation was really chaotic that day. In order to maintain order, the hospital even called the police, but the police force couldn't do anything. In order to restore order in the hospital as soon as possible, it was Su-Yun who stood up. Seeing that regular methods couldn't deal with them, he played a ruthless game. He directly asked Brother Lei to bring 100 of his men to maintain order. Those guys didn't know how to hold back. And after the police saw it, they tacitly agreed. After all, they were helping them. Otherwise, if this matter couldn't be controlled and reported to the higher-ups, they would definitely be criticized and educated. After getting the tacit consent of the police, Brother Lei's men became even more unscrupulous. In one day, they broke the legs of several media reporters. Those who were beaten could only grit their teeth and swallow their anger. In this case, the media reporters quickly gave up. They beat people in broad daylight. If it was at night, when the night was dark and windy, they might even dare to kill. News was important, but life was more important. The order in the hospital finally returned to how it used to be. Su-Yun didn't leave the hospital. When Fanbing came to Qingdao, she arranged leave for her assistant and the staff around her, so no one was on Qingdao. Su-Yun naturally took the responsibility of taking care of Fanbing. Chapter 15-16. How do you feel? Is there anything you want to eat? I'll call someone to send it over. Su-Yun said. You must be very hungry. Fanbing shook her head. I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat anything now. You have to know that you've been unconscious for 2 days. You haven't eaten anything for 2 days. Aren't you hungry? Su-Yun didn't believe her. You have to eat something. Even if you don't want to eat, you have to replenish your body's needs. The medicine may make you feel hungry, but it's definitely not true that you don't feel hungry. It's just how you feel. Fanbing was stunned. I've been unconscious for 2 days? She only felt that she had just slept. She didn't expect that she would be unconscious for 2 days. This was really too important to her. The boss only gave her 3 days. She was also very clear that the boss had already lost his patience. And she slept for 2 days. She didn't do anything in these 2 days. Now that the deadline given by the boss was approaching, what should she do? Should she immediately kill the man in front of her who took care of her for 2 days when she was unconscious? Or should she betray the boss? Facing the former, she couldn't do it. Facing the latter, she didn't dare to betray. She was really at a loss. She was really in pain. How could she solve all these troubles? Fanbing suddenly felt that she might as well die in this car accident. That way, there wouldn't be so many troubles and troubles. Do you still think that you just entered the hospital? Su-Yun said. Now you know the seriousness of the matter. Then hurry up and think about what you want to eat so that you can supplement your body's needs. I heard that when you really want to eat something, your body will tell you that you lack the nutrients in that thing. Fanbing forced a smile. That's just an excuse for a foodie. Some people suddenly have a craving for French fries and chips. Could it be that they're lacking potatoes? Then I'll just steam 2 potatoes and see if they can eat it. Su-Yun laughed. Aren't people very particular now? Eating isn't just to fill the stomach. It's also a kind of enjoyment. How about this? You're not suitable to eat greasy things now. I'll get someone to make you something light. Although our movie hotel's chef, Little Dongbei, is young, his skills are amazing. I'll ask him to make Buddha jumps over the wall for you. I guarantee that you'll want to get out of bed when you smell the fragrance. Is this considered light? Fan Bing smiled helplessly. Of course. Facing such a man, how could Fan Bing make a move? In her memory, there had never been a man who cared about her so much without any purpose. Even now, her father, her biological father, cared about her only because of her current status, ability, and money. He didn't care for her at all. But Su Yin was different. Su Yin had no obligation to treat her like this. Fan Bing knew very well that she was just one of the thousands of artists under Sky Entertainment. She had no right to receive Su Yin's care, because she didn't deserve it. She was different from other artists. Others were in Sky Entertainment to develop their own path in the entertainment industry and climb to the top step by step. But what was she? From the first day she entered Sky Entertainment, she had a goal. Even after so many years, she had stood at the top of the entertainment industry, but her goal had never changed. She wasn't just an artist. She had a special identity. Xiao Su, Fan Bing suddenly asked. Why do you care so much about me? Our relationship is... Of course I care about you. Su Yin said. You are my friend, my artist, and a shareholder of Sky Entertainment. No matter what, I have an obligation to care for you. What's so hard to understand? It should be easy to understand, right? I don't treat you as an outsider. It's that simple. Fan Bing shook her head. Xiao Su, thank you. But you really don't have to be so nice to me. I know. You have a lot of topics to talk about, and the news will spread nonsense. Su Yin, but it doesn't matter. I can accept it. Mouths grow on other people's faces. What other people say is their right. We really can't control what happens. But a straight foot is not afraid of a crooked shadow. As long as you know it in your heart, it's fine. CEO Su, that's not what I meant. Fan Bing hoped that Su Yin would leave. The further he went, the better. The more he took care of her, the more uneasy she would feel. She had already decided. Before tonight, she had to take action and deal with this matter. Su Yin was worried that she had misunderstood. If the person who got into this accident wasn't you, but someone else from Sky Entertainment, I will do my duty as a boss and a friend. It's that simple. CEO Su, I want to be alone for a while. Fan Bing said. Su Yin stood up. Since the doctor said you're fine, I'll go back and do my own things. You should rest well. If you need anything, go to the doctor or nurse. I'll get someone to bring you food as soon as possible. Su Yin left the room and looked back at Fan Bing. Her condition was indeed not right. After driving back to the company, Su Yin saw Lin Ge waiting for him. How's the matter? I asked you to investigate. Fan Bing's car accident was indeed her fault. There's no problem with that. No one tampered with the car. It was completely caused by her own bad driving and speeding. Lin Ge said. Fortunately, the owner of the car in front is fine. He was just frightened. I've also solved the problem of compensation. Su Yin nodded. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Fan Bing left the hotel at 5 o'clock in the morning. Did she wander around the streets after leaving the hotel? That's true. I had Sister One Air pull some strings for me, Lin Ge said. The people from the police system told me to check the footage from the city's security cameras that day. Fan Bing's pink sports car was easy to recognize, so I remember very clearly. The more difficult the road, the more the car appeared. After a pause, Lin Ge continued. Also, when she left the hotel, there were more than 10 cars following her from a distance. If I'm not wrong, they were all guys who wanted to get their hands on the news. And then, the more Su Yin listened, the more he felt that something was wrong. Who would be crazy enough to wander around alone? Obviously, Fan Bing wanted to get rid of the cars that followed her. Lin Ge said. Later, only 2 cars were left. One was a red Cruze, and the other was a silver Corolla. The skills of these 2 drivers were really good. However, there was a strange thing. Su Yin was stunned. These security cameras belong to the Skynet operation cameras. They can greatly limit crime. Once someone commits a crime, this system can use the fastest time to track down the criminal, Linga said. So it won't break down easily. The maintenance is also very timely. But on that day, there was a place where there was no surveillance video record. The camera wasn't broken, but someone stuck the camera with chewing gum. Su-yin frowned. What does that mean? Lin-gu was also very puzzled. I really can't say for sure. However, when the two cars disappeared from all the surveillance at a certain time, it should be at the place where the camera was stuck. Then, Fan Bing had an accident. The people in the two cars should be the first to report this incident. However, the two cars and the people inside didn't appear again. This is what I don't understand. Su-yin also realized the strangeness of the matter. No wonder Fan Bing was a little strange after waking up. It seemed that there were many things that he needed to figure out personally. In a while, take me to the area where the camera was stuck with chewing gum. Su-yin. No matter how strange the matter is, we have to investigate it. I still suspect that Fan Bing's car accident was man-made. Lin-gu nodded. That can only be a car accident caused by someone disturbing her emotions. This doesn't constitute evidence of a crime. Chapter 15-17. There were other clues, so Su-yin naturally would not be careless. He would definitely not let go of such a detail. This matter had to be investigated thoroughly. Now that he thought about it, the night before Fan Bing's accident, she had come to his room so late. There seemed to be something wrong with her mood. Then let's go now, Lin-gu said. I also think that place is quite abnormal. We should really check it out. The two of them left as soon as they said that. They drove directly to the area where all the cameras had been tampered with. What attracted Su-yun's attention the most in this area was naturally the high-rise parking lot that stood out like a crane among chickens. At that time, when this 10-story parking lot was first built, many people scolded it for wasting national resources. However, as it became more and more difficult to find parking spaces in the city, and the utilization rate of the parking lot was as high as 4 or 5 stories, some people finally understood how far-sighted the person who built this parking lot was. The people of Huaxia were really great, and their strength was really unpredictable. If one were to ask which country in the world had the greatest potential, the first choice would definitely be Huaxia. Because with such high housing prices, they could solve the housing problem, and then guarantee that they could eat and drink and live. If it were people from other countries, facing such a difference in wages and housing prices, they would probably have collapsed to the point of wanting to commit suicide, right? However, the people of China were different. Although the housing prices were high, they could still afford to buy cars. Many families had more than one car. Some even had 2, 3, or many cars. This was only for the families of the ordinary class. The families of the rich and powerful probably had a luxury car that was worth more than 3 to 5 cars of the ordinary families combined. This high-rise parking lot was built with great foresight. Lin-gu also expressed his admiration. I believe that in another 3 to 5 years, the 10 or so stories above will be full. The utilization rate is still a little low. I heard that no one came to repair the elevator when it broke down. The utilization rate is not high? Su-yin had never been to this place, so he was not very clear about the specific situation. However, Lin-gu was already very familiar with Qingdao. He had walked around with Fangye many times. He had even parked here before. Maybe the location is a little remote. If it was closer to the city center, I'm afraid the upper floors would have been used long ago. Lin-gu nodded. Brother, you're right. But if it's a prime location in the city center that requires the most parking spaces, how much would the land cost? Build this. Unless you have nothing better to do, you'll be losing money even if you charge 100 yuan for parking an hour. Ha ha. Su-yin smiled and pointed to the parking lot. Since the upper floors of the parking lot are not used, it's really a quiet place. The quieter a place was, the easier it was for problems to arise. The two of them drove to the top floor. They thought it was empty, but a trembling car appeared in their field of vision. Soon, the trembling car seemed to realize something and stopped trembling. Then it left without hesitation. Looks like we've come at the wrong time. We've disturbed their mood, Su-Yin said as he opened the door and got out of the car. Idlers nowadays were really troublesome. They could be found anywhere. Brother, do you think there's something wrong with this place? Linge said. I'm afraid that only people like that will come here occasionally. Let's go. Otherwise, if someone comes and sees us two men, it will be a misunderstanding. Su-Yin smiled helplessly. The only people who could find this place were the two weirdos just now. No one would come again. Although there were no cars on the top floor, it was the most exposed. People could see it when they came, and it was not exciting. If they really wanted to find excitement, they could find a floor with a lot of parking. It would not be easy to be noticed. I'm afraid this place is not that simple. Su-Yin smiled slightly. His gaze swept across the ground. According to the wheel marks on the dust, he quickly judged how many cars had come to this place in the past few days. In a certain place, he also saw relatively dense footprints and traces of someone falling and sliding out. Su-Yin frowned. There may have been some small conflicts in this place. As for whether it was the day when Fan Bing had an accident, I can't judge, but I'm sure that someone attacked here, and it was overwhelming. The person who was beaten had no ability to fight back. Lingo also noticed the footprints and nodded vigorously. Indeed, something must have happened here. I may have found an important clue, Su-Yin suddenly said lightly. Do you see the wheel marks here? The car turned here and left the marks of the front and back tires. With that, Su-Yin stepped forward and roughly calculated with his hand. He smiled slightly. If I'm not wrong, the front wheel should be 235? The size of the R19. The rear wheel is 295? The size of the R19. What does this mean? Lin Ge was a little puzzled. There are no such coincidences in the world. Fan Bing's Audi R8, the front wheel is 235? R19. And the rear wheel is 295? R19, I've seen her car. It hasn't been modified, and the wheels are original. After Su-Yin finished speaking, he stood up. Fan Bing came here. Her car stopped here. Lin Ji's jaw almost dropped. Brother, you can even deduce this? You might as well call yourself Sherlock Holmes. That's too domineering. You can even do this. If my guess is correct, then we can be sure that the marks of this depth were left that day. They are completely different from the marks left by the car that just left. Su-Yin said, we can judge that those cars were here that day based on the comparison. Lin Ge was full of admiration as he began to search the scene according to Su-Yin's instructions. Soon Lin Ge really found a clue. This made him wild with joy. Brother, there are signs of emergency brakes here. There are two cars, one in front and one behind. Su-Yin quickly stepped forward. Based on the width of the tires, he could basically confirm that these two cars belonged to the two paparazzi who had followed them here. They had to have encountered something for them to have braked. Soon, Su-Yin noticed some fine glass stubs on the ground, as well as messy footprints. Su-Yin thought that if that was the case, there was only one possibility. An external object had hit the front windshield or the side windshield of the car, but some of the glass fragments would fall into the car. Only a few pieces would fall out because the people in the car got out of the car and brought out some of the scattered pieces. The film on the front windshield of a car was generally better at explosion-proof, so Su-Yin was basically sure that the side window had been shattered. A few meters back, where the car had left its mark, it was the same scene. This pointed to a very important problem. The incident had happened at the same time, so it must have been man-made. Moreover, two people had received orders to act at the same time. It was certain that Fan Bing hated paparazzi, but there was really no need to make such a big fuss over two paparazzi, right? There was still something fishy about this matter. Brother, why do I feel that this matter is getting more and more mysterious? Lin Ge said. On that day, in addition to Fan Bing and the paparazzi, there must be a third party at this scene. That's right, Su-Yin said. Moreover, the key to this problem lies with the third party. Since the two paparazzi's car appeared in this area, they haven't appeared anywhere else. This shows that this is a very serious problem. Those two people, it is very likely that they have already been. Lin Ge was really frightened by Su-Yin's assumption. It shouldn't be that serious. The other party is just two paparazzi. Even if they saw something they shouldn't have, as long as they can get money, they wouldn't say anything casually. Brother, how much do you think this matter has to do with Fanbing? Su-yin shook his head. It was really hard for him to say this. He had no way of determining what Fanbing had done, and there was no way of calculating what Fanbing was thinking now. But there was no doubt that this matter was inextricably linked to Fanbing. This was definitely not wrong. Chapter 15:18. Then let's go back and ask Fanbing now. How can she not know about what happened to her? We can only ask her about it. Lin Ge said. She won't not tell the truth in front of you, right? Su-yin shook his head. As long as a person doesn't want to talk about something, no matter who asks, it is absolutely impossible to talk about it. I'm afraid I really can't ask Fanbing directly about this. I think she may be a person involved in this matter. Before we figure out the situation, we shouldn't make any rash decisions. Lin Ge nodded. You mean we have to find the third party so that we can have full confidence in understanding this matter? Only by figuring out who the third party is can we have a bargaining chip to fight with them. Otherwise, we don't even have a clue. What else can we do? Su-yin said. Who is the mastermind behind all of this? That's our top priority right now. Don't tell Fanbing that we've been here yet. If necessary, I'll ask her personally. Lin Ge nodded. He knew that Su-yin couldn't fully trust Fanbing after speculating so many unknown things. His sixth sense also strongly told him that this matter must have something to do with Fanbing. Since Su-yin said not to mention this matter in front of Fanbing, and not to reveal it, Lin Ge would naturally do as he said. But from now on he would pay close attention to Fanbing's every move. Fanbing wouldn't let go of any small tricks she made. Su-yin had a problem that he had always figured out. In his impression, there was no such wide tire specification for the tire next to Fanbing's tire tracks. The car must be specially made by the manufacturer. Su-yin's only conclusion was that the third party was rich and familiar with Fanbing. We have checked what we should check and understood what we should know. Let's go. Su-yin, it's not good to stay here for long. If the mysterious third party knows that he found this place, I'm afraid that not only will he be in danger, but even Fanbing will be in danger. The complexity of the matter seemed to have exceeded Su-yin's expectations. He could basically conclude that Fanbing's identity was not as simple as it seemed. Su-yin had interacted with many people in different capacities, including himself. Not only was he the CEO of Sky Entertainment Group, but he also had several other identities. Therefore, Su-yin was not surprised. What made him uneasy was what Fanbing's other identity was, and whether it was dangerous. If she was an extremely dangerous person, and had been hiding in Sky Entertainment for so many years, then everyone in Sky Entertainment would be in danger. Just thinking about it made Su-yin's hair stand on end. This matter needed to be investigated without anyone knowing. This matter could only be known by him and Lin Ge. If it was revealed to anyone else, it could cause unnecessary trouble. Fanbing was still in the hospital. She had been struggling with her thoughts the whole day. Time passed little by little. Her 3-day deadline was getting closer and closer. Fanbing held her breath. Only when she was about to suffocate did she take a deep breath. She was experiencing the feeling of death. The feeling of death was really not good. It was a feeling that no one wanted to experience in their entire life. No matter what kind of death it was not a good experience for people. Finally, Fanbing made up her mind. Just as she was about to pull out the needle on the back of her hand and leave the hospital, the door of the ward was pushed open by Su-yin. How was it? Were you satisfied with the Buddha jumps over the wall at noon? Try something lighter at night. Try this Tai Chi tofu pudding. The tofu pudding is low in sugar, but it is very nutritious. Not only does it contain a lot of plant-based protein that can replenish the body's calories, but it also has calcium that can accelerate the body's metabolism. Also, this is shredded golden needle lentils and stir-fried green beans. They are all light dishes. After eating, drink some shepherd's purse tofu soup. I guarantee that you will be able to leave the hospital tomorrow. Fanbing looked at everything that Su-yin had prepared. She was completely stunned. One had to know that she had made up her mind to kill Su-yin a second before he entered the room. However, in the face of Su Yun's meticulous preparations, how could Fan Bing do it? How could she be worthy of Su Yun's trust and care for her? The feelings between people were mutual. Only by caring for each other, taking care of each other, and opening their hearts to each other could they become true friends. Fan Bing knew that she was not worthy of being treated as a friend by Su Yun because she had never opened her heart to Su Yun. She had never truly opened her heart to him. Everything she did was deceit. Other than deceit, it was still deceit. Other than deceit, there was only deceit. She was just constantly deceiving Su Yun and everyone around her. She was not worthy of Su Yun's care at all. Why do you have to take care of me like this? Don't do this to me. Fan Bing was upset and did not know how to refuse. What are you talking about? I said that as a friend I should care. As a partner, I should take care of you. No matter what aspect it is necessary for me to take care of you. Su Yun smiled slightly and said, let's do this. When your body is almost recovered and you are discharged tomorrow, you want me to take care of you. I don't have time to take care of you. Don't worry so much. Eat well. Fan Bing had no way to raise the murderous intent in her heart. It was better to let him kill her than to let her kill Su Yun. Su Yun did not leave at night. He simply stayed in the ward and said, you will be discharged tomorrow, so tonight is very necessary. If you feel uncomfortable, I can stay and take care of you. I will sleep in the bed next to you. I can really do it myself. Fan Bing said so, but a thought emerged in her heart. Wasn't it good for Su Yun to stay here? The opportunity was in front of her. She only needed to wait until Su Yun fell asleep at night and quickly pierce his heart with a silver needle. Su Yun would die peacefully without any pain. Perhaps this was the best reward she could give to Su Yun? Su Yun did stay in this ward. In the inpatient building next door, Lin Ge quietly lurked at the window and observed everything that might happen in the ward. Fortunately, the curtains in the hospital were thin enough, like a layer of gauze, so Lin Ge could see Fan Bing's every move without much effort. He did not know what the two were talking about, but Lin Ge became more and more distrustful of Fan Bing. He had a feeling that if Brother Yin did not ask him to do so, he would have asked Fan Bing who she was. Finally, it was late at night. Lin Ge was still monitoring everything, and he did not feel sleepy at all. Su Yun stretched and said to Fan Bing, it's late. You should rest early. If you have nothing to do tomorrow, come to my office and we will continue today's topic. I am sleepy. I have been too tired these days. Then you should sleep early, Fan Bing said lightly. Just like that, Su Yun turned over and slept on the bed next to him. Although Fan Bing closed her eyes, her breathing was very rapid. It could be seen from her undulating chest. However, Su Yun actually fell asleep after 10 minutes. Once a person fell asleep, the breathing rate would slow down. It could be seen from the body's reaction. Lin Ge really admired Brother Yun's big heart. He could actually fall asleep at this time. He was simply a god. Just like that, Lin Ge stared blankly for 2 hours. Nothing out of the ordinary happened. Seeing that it was almost midnight, Lin Ge wanted to go back to sleep. Could it be that his intuition was wrong? No, a person's deep sleep was around 1 o'clock in the morning, so Lin Ge decided to continue waiting. If Fan Bing had any suspicious actions, it must be at the most dangerous time. Chapter 1519. Lin Ji's judgment was not wrong. He was right to keep waiting. Just after 1 o'clock in the morning, there was a strange movement on Fan Bing's bed. She slowly sat up and carefully looked at Su Yun, who was lying on the other bed. Lin Ge instantly felt as if someone had poured a bucket of cold water on his head. His entire body became alert. He secretly paid attention to Fan Bing's every move. His intuition told him that this woman must have a big secret. He had to figure out what this woman wanted to do. After Fan Bing got up, she had been paying attention to Su Yun. She half lay on the bed and did not dare to make a sound. Su Yun was not an ordinary person. It was absolutely forbidden to use this method of calling to test him. Any slight sound would wake him up, so Fan Bing did not dare to make a sound. Even her breathing was so careful and cautious. However, Su Yun seemed to be sleeping very soundly. He did not seem to notice anything. His breathing was the same as before, and there was no reaction. Fan Bing judged whether Su Yun's mood had changed from the rhythm of Su Yun's breathing. Obviously, Su Yun had passed Fan Bing's judgment. Only people who were sleeping soundly would not have a change in the rhythm of their breathing. Of course, there was only one exception, and that was a person in a nightmare. That would also cause a huge change in the rhythm of their breathing. Otherwise, it could only be a person who was not asleep and felt the danger around them. That would cause a change in the rhythm of their breathing. Now Fan Bing believed and confirmed that Su Yun was still sleeping soundly. Only then did she leave the bed with extremely slow movements. It had to be said that her hands and feet were really light. There was no strange sound at all. Even her breathing was the same as before. There was no change at all. When Lin Ge saw this, he realized that Brother Yun still did not have any reaction. This made him feel a little strange. Unless Fan Bing was an expert to a certain extent, how could Su Yun not notice such a big movement? Fan Bing was an expert, and her strength was not ordinary. This bold guess gave Lin Ge a big fright. Obviously, this guess was quite bold. It directly subverted a person's identity. Just thinking about it made Lin Ge feel that it was quite scary. What Fan Bing did next shocked him even more. Fan Bing quietly walked to the door of the ward and took her thick-soled leather boots from the shoe rack. Ever since she was admitted to the hospital, Fan Bing had not worn any shoes. Her coat and shoes were all taken off by the nurses in the hospital. From the first day until now, no one had touched them. After Fan Bing picked up the leather boots, she pulled out something sharp from the thick soles of the boots. Lin Ge judged the object to be sharp because he only saw a faint reflection. It was a very thin object, like a needle. A rather long needle? Lin Ge held his breath. It seemed that Fan Bing's identity was not ordinary. To be able to hide something in the soles of shoes, this kind of method was generally something that professional agents and assassins would do. How could ordinary people do it? Fan Bing took the object and approached Su Yun step by step. This time, Lin Ge was confused. What is Fan Bing trying to do? Just as Lin Ji's nervous heart was about to jump out of his throat, Fan Bing had already walked to Su Yun's bedside. The sharp object in her hand flashed a cold light again. Fan Bing's current action was to use that sharp object to stab Su Yun? Lin Ji's mind went blank. He suddenly wanted to shout, but doing so would alert the enemy. Fan Bing, who was discovered, would be more nervous. It was more likely that she would hurt Su Yun. Lin Ge had to calm himself down. Just as Lin Ge was in a dilemma, Fan Bing was also in a dilemma. She had already raised the silver needle in her hand. As long as she used the fastest speed to stab Su Yun's heart, Su Yun would die without noticing. She could even continue to sleep here and pretend that she didn't know what was going on the next day. But when Fan Bing faced this final blow, she couldn't do it. At this moment, Su Yun's phone suddenly rang. Fan Bing quickly put away the silver needle in a panic. Then, she pretended to look at Su Yun, who had woken up with a start, and pretended to be surprised. She pretended to cover him with a blanket. Su Yun was startled and looked at Fan Bing. "I'm here to take care of you. Instead, you're taking care of me. You're really blushing." This call in the middle of the night really saved Su Yun's life. It also disrupted all the plans in Fan Bing's heart. Su Yun picked up the phone. It was actually Lin Ge calling. At the most critical moment, Lin Ge suddenly thought that this was the only way to wake up Su Yun. At least this way he could first ensure Brother Yun's safety and not alert the enemy. Su Yun frowned, picked up the phone and said softly, "Hello. Brother, leave the ward first. I have something to say to you." Lin Ge said. "This is a serious matter. We can't let others hear it." Su Yun knew that Lin Ge must be in the hospital. He smiled slightly. "No need. Just tell me. What did you see?" Lin Ge was stunned and completely dumbfounded. "You didn't sleep? Your call is really timely." Su Yun sighed. He was really grateful to Lin Ge for this timely call, but he really didn't need this call because he wasn't asleep at all. Everything was an illusion. "Of course I didn't sleep." Lin Ge was too anxious. In fact, as long as he calmed down and thought about it, Su Yun was such a cautious person. He obviously suspected that there was something wrong with Fan Bing. How could he be so unscrupulous and fall asleep in her ward? Su Yun was asleep. All this was an illusion. Suyin wanted to test what Fanbing wanted to do. Now Suyin already knew that Fanbing's target was him. However, in front of one opportunity after another, Fanbing had been escaping. Obviously, this was her best opportunity. At the most critical moment, when she was deciding whether to take action or not, she was interrupted by Lin Ji's call. Suyin also lost his final judgment. He couldn't guess whether Fanbing's needle would stab him or not. Fanbing realized that she had been exposed. When she heard Suyin say that of course he didn't sleep, she knew that everything was over. Suyin must have noticed everything she did. Fanbing never thought about how to face this situation. Suyin hung up Lin Ji's call and looked up at Fanbing. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. Fanbing didn't know how to face Suyin. She also didn't know what Suyin knew, why he suspected her, and why he took the risk to test her. I really didn't expect that you had your special identity. Suyin said lightly. In my eyes, I always thought that you were just an actor. However, the life role you played was more wonderful than any of your roles in movies. After a pause, Suyin continued. If you didn't take out the silver needle just now, I still wouldn't believe that you have other identities. It's true. Your acting skills are one of the best I've ever seen. Fanbing tried her best to keep a distance from Suyin. She asked cautiously. What do you know? You went to the high-rise parking lot, right? Suyin said lightly. I went to take a look today. I'm afraid that 2 people will lose their lives because of you. Of course, I know that you didn't do it. You can't kill 2 weak paparazzi. However, you have to tell me who did it. Fanbing stared at Suyin's eyes. What do you mean by who? Who arranged for you? Suyin was very clear. Fanbing, you've been in Sky Entertainment for more than 10 years? If you've been hiding for more than 10 years just to kill me, then I really admire your patience. I know that there must be someone behind you. Tell me, who is it? No one. Fanbing wouldn't betray her boss. Suyin. You can't do it to me. This means that you still have some humanity. You're not a killing machine. Fanbing, tell me, who is it? There's still room for redemption. No, there's no room for redemption. There's no room for redemption, Fanbing said firmly. Chapter 15:20. At this time, Lin Ge also rushed over. No matter who Fanbing was, she was too scary, so Lin Ge would never let Brother Yun be alone with her. He could see that Brother Yun couldn't be so cruel to Fanbing, who had joined Sky Entertainment before Zhang Taisui passed away. I know no matter what you didn't do it willingly. Someone must have ordered you to do it. Suyin. Everyone has secrets they can't talk about. I believe I can understand your situation. Fanbing, I really think of you as a friend. Fanbing shook her head. I don't deserve to be your friend. Don't force me. You're the one forcing us. Lin Ge said. Fanbing, we really did not treat you as an enemy, but everything that you've done has disappointed us too much. You shouldn't be like this. Wake up and take a look at what you've done. You wouldn't do something like this to someone you don't have any grudges with, right? Stop talking. Fanbing's head hurt. The more she thought about it, the more she struggled. I'm sure that the person you met in the high-rise parking lot is the real mastermind. Suyin. I don't care what kind of grudges he has with me. He can cause trouble for me, but he shouldn't implicate the innocent. If 2 paparazzi died because of this, then you should know what kind of person he is. Fanbing shook her head. This has nothing to do with me. I only know that I have to do what I should do. How does it have nothing to do with you? Suyin asked back. Do you really think of yourself as a cold-blooded killer? All these years, everyone knows what you've done in Sky Entertainment. On the surface, you're really arrogant, but in private, you're more passionate about public welfare than anyone else. Especially when it comes to caring for orphans and left-behind children. You've done more than anyone else. This point was really not the focus of the media. The focus of the entertainment media was always to stir up scandals, stir up jealousy, and create similar photoshopped photos to stir up scandals. This was because only such exposés would have click-through rates and attention. This society was already very sick. Most of the people's attention was not on serious matters, but on eating, drinking, and having fun. Therefore, Fan Bing didn't report many of the things that she focused on. There were a few times when she really didn't have any news to hype up, so she reported it. More importantly, Fan Bing didn't want this matter to be noticed by the public. And there was almost never a time when there was no news around her. Therefore, not many people knew about public welfare. Now that Suyin mentioned it, Fan Bing was really surprised, because she couldn't believe that Suyin actually knew about these things. It was hard for her to imagine how Suyin knew about this. There's nothing to be surprised about. I pay attention to every artist in Sky Entertainment, and I know what they like to do. I really appreciate that you like to do charity. Suyin. As for those artists who only know how to party and have fun, and who are suspected of taking illegal drugs, I also know. I will deal with them when the time is right. I know every artist, so I can't believe that you're a cold-blooded person. No. Fan Bing said. In other things maybe I'm not. But that doesn't mean I'm always a good person. Don't be agitated. Let me finish. Suyin. If you came to Sky Entertainment to kill me, then hiding for more than 10 years is really too much. If it were me, hiding for more than 10 years and finally getting a chance to do it, I wouldn't miss it. After all, I've waited for more than 10 years. But if I don't know why I'm doing this, I can't do it, because I'm not a bad person. If there's an order for me to kill a good person that I know, I can't do it. This is a problem that no one can avoid. Linga frowned. I advise you to say what you need to say. We won't do anything to you. You can hear it. We believe that you're a kind person. Don't continue to do stupid things. Fan Bing laughed coldly. Some things, once started, can't be turned back. Just like you said, more than 10 years, I've been hiding in Sky Entertainment for more than 10 years, using the identity of an artist to do those things, facing the media, but my goal wasn't to gain attention from society, my goal was to kill people. I've been like this for more than 10 years, and now you suddenly want me to turn back. Fan Bing laughed bitterly. How can I turn back? It's already been more than 10 years, how can I turn back? How many years does a person have in their life? But in these 10 years everything I've done, was it all for nothing? Suyin knew that Fan Bing's emotions weren't stable. You didn't do it for nothing, and you didn't waste it. You used your second identity to walk a beautiful life. You walked a more beautiful life than your other identity. You used your second identity to do what you wanted to do, to help so many poor children. This only proves that your second identity is greater, and your second identity is more valuable to society. In my eyes, your second identity is your true identity. The other identity that you've always thought of as you aren't important. Suyun's words shocked Fan Bing. Indeed, she had always thought of being an artist as her second identity, but for so many years, she had been living with this identity. She had really become one with this identity. If it wasn't for the boss, she wouldn't even remember her first identity. A large part of the reason why Fan Bing was hesitant in her choice was probably because of this. What you need to do now is to calm down and not be impulsive. Suyin. I don't know what happened on the top floor of the parking lot that day, but you got into a car accident right after leaving that place, which means that your emotions are seriously disturbed and affected. You have to calm down and think about what you want to do and why you want to do it. If you want to kill my brother, what's the reason? Lin Go asked. Suyin signaled Lin Go not to ask too much. This would only make Fan Bing's emotions conflicted. Let her think about it, don't disturb her. Fan Bing's mind was still a little absent-minded. After all, the car accident had more or less left her with a concussion. Once she tried to think about something, she would have a headache. The pain was very painful. I think you still need to rest. Suyin. Don't think about anything now, just sleep. Everything will be better tomorrow. No, there's not enough time. It'll be late tomorrow. Fan Bing suddenly raised her head and stared at Suyin. I only have 3 days. I only have 3 days. I must kill you in 3 days. This is my mission. This is my mission after I've been undercover in Sky Entertainment for more than 10 years. I have to do this to be worthy of my benefactor. President Su, I'm sorry. I've let down your trust and care. As soon as Fan Bing's voice fell, the thin silver needle in her hand directly pierced towards Suyun's heart. This sharp silver needle combined with Fan Bing's swift and fierce technique. Once Su Yun was stabbed, he would definitely die. This kind of killing method was probably only used by assassins and special agents, right? Su Yun quickly leaned back to avoid the attack. Lin Gu immediately tried to subdue Fan Bing, but Su Yun pulled him back, indicating that he shouldn't do anything. Doing anything now was definitely not a wise choice. It was very likely that it would anger Fan Bing, which would be even more disadvantageous for Su Yun to communicate with her. The most important thing now wasn't Fan Bing, but the person behind Fan Bing. If Fan Bing really fought with her life, then this matter would be meaningless. Chapter 1521. Now Fan Bing had already made a move on Su Yun. Judging from her move, it was vicious and went straight for the vital part. There was no room for retreat at all. Such a person was definitely a dangerous person. Even if Su Yun tried to stop him, Lin Gu still wanted to make the first move. If I can't kill you today, then I hope that President Su can give face to the old man, and let me die a little faster. Fan Bing prepared for the next attack while talking to Su Yun. I have no choice. This is my task. It is an order that I must complete. If there is an afterlife, I will repay President Su's kindness for taking care of me. People don't have an afterlife. There is only a lifetime. Su Yun. A person dying is like a lamp going out. Once dead, everything is gone. How can there be an afterlife? Life is not easy. Don't be so casual and don't know how to cherish it. No, people have an afterlife. Just like seeds planted in the soil, they will bloom and bear fruit again. There will be an afterlife, let alone a person. Fan Bing said. There will be an afterlife. I believe it. When Fan Bing said this, it was obvious that she was ready to die. Today, whether she could successfully kill Su Yun or not, she would not live an ignoble life in this world. If she could kill Su Yun and complete the order that the boss gave her, she would be worthy of the boss's kindness to her. However, she felt guilty towards Su Yun, so if Su Yun died, she would not live an ignoble life. She would be with him. As long as people had reincarnation, she believed that she could see Su Yun again in the afterlife. At that time, she would pay him back all that she owed him. If she couldn't kill Su Yun today, she would be unworthy of the boss and the life-saving grace. If a person couldn't even repay the basic kindness, then what was the point of continuing to live in this world? She didn't want to become a treacherous person, so she couldn't avoid the orders and tasks she faced. What you said about there being no afterlife after death, and that people will reincarnate after death is not the truth of life. Lin Gu suddenly said. A person's death is not like a lamp being extinguished. A person's death is not necessarily a cycle of reincarnation. A person will be repaid for their sins. The 5 tastes will flow, and the 6 paths of reincarnation will be reincarnated. Those who do good will be in heaven, while those who do evil will be in hell, evil spirits, and beasts. This is the real life. Lu Xuanji believed in Buddhism, so Lin Gu also believed in Buddhism since he was young. This kind of belief was not superstition, but pure faith. It was just like how Europeans and Americans believed in God, and Huaxia believed in Bodhisattva. Both were beautiful things. Otherwise, there wouldn't be people burning incense and kowtowing in the major temples. Faith was sometimes a kind of strength. Every year, there would be thousands of people burning incense and praying for blessings in the Imperial College. Those who were more sincere would drive thousands of miles to Tsufu, the hometown of Confucius, to burn incense and kowtow in front of the Deshang Hall in the Temple of Confucius. Su Yun didn't have such faith. His faith was his own. After experiencing countless life and death situations, Su Yun only believed that he could bring hope to life. Therefore his faith was his own. Fan Bing didn't have any faith either. Her faith was also her own. She believed that she had to obtain everything she wanted with her own hands, and that no one would give it to her for free. However, when Lin Gu said this, the two of them more or less wavered in their faith. That's right, retribution for sins, the 5 tastes, the 6 paths of reincarnation. This sounded more like Zen logic. Lin Gu did not know if his words could help Su Yun and Fan Bing, but he had to say it. All living beings are originally pure of 6 senses. Because of a thoughtless action in the past, they have created karma through their actions, and have the consciousness to enter the womb. With the consciousness to enter the womb, there will be the birth of the womb. With the birth of the womb, there will be the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. After being born, there will be good and evil karma, due to various causes in the outside world. Good karma will be born as heaven, man, or asura. Evil karma will be born as beasts, hungry ghosts, or hell. The troubles of the 12 causes are the driving force of reincarnation. The 6 paths of reincarnation will inevitably arise, and the 6 paths of reincarnation will flow endlessly. Suyin didn't understand the Zen logic of Buddhism, but he had his own thoughts. No wonder the 3-character classic said that at the beginning, man's nature is good. Only good karma can give birth to a human. Fan Bing looked at all of this in a daze. She didn't understand what it meant, but she understood that it was saying that she wasn't an evil person. If it was evil karma, it was impossible to be born as a human. But if this was really something reasonable, why was there such a big difference between people after they were born? Some people were born with a golden spoon in their mouths, such as the princes and princesses in the Middle East. They were born with endless money because the entire country's oil was their families. Some people could spend hundreds of millions of dollars to build their own palaces with hundreds of servants. The pools and elevators in the palaces were child's play. They were directly equipped with airstrips and airports. The pets they raised weren't expensive prairie cats, rare purple-blue macaws, or Tibetan mastiffs that were easily worth tens of millions. They were lions, tigers, and purebred Arabian horses that couldn't be bought with hundreds of millions of dollars. There was nothing they couldn't enjoy, nothing they couldn't get. Some people were born with hunger, cold, disease, and all kinds of pain. There was no pain they couldn't endure, only endless suffering. Yes, you could say that when heaven gave a great responsibility to a person, it would first make his mind suffer, his muscles and bones toil, his body starve, his body empty, and his actions disrupted. Therefore, he would be tempted to endure and do what he couldn't do. But how many of these people who had their minds suffer, their muscles and bones toil, and their bodies starve in the end were given a great responsibility by heaven? Not even 1 in 10,000, right? Almost everyone would spend the rest of their lives in poverty and depression. And those who were born with a golden spoon in their mouths didn't suffer. Their muscles and bones toil, and their bodies starve. But what about them? They were born to be princes, born to have power, born to be successors. They were born to be given a great responsibility by heaven. Based on this point, Fan Bing wouldn't believe in the bullshit 6 paths of reincarnation in Buddhism. Who said that people were born good? Al-Qaeda leader Bin Laden, Mexican drug tycoon Guzman, Russian mafia boss Taktakhanov, Italian mafia leader Tennaro, Ugandan guerrilla leader Kenny. These people, which one of them wasn't the leader of all evils? These people couldn't have cultivated good karma. Even if they went to hell, it wouldn't be able to wash away their sins. Don't say any more. It's meaningless to say anything now. I only know that I have to complete my task. Fan Bing said. If I can't complete it, I can only apologize with my death. CEO Su, I won't be merciful. I hope you won't be hurt by me. Seize the opportunity to kill me, okay? This is my last request to you. If Fan Bing didn't say this last sentence, Suyin wouldn't be 100% sure that she was completely forced to do this. But now, Suyin could be 100% sure that although Fan Bing had been doing harm to herself and had no intention of stopping, deep in her heart, she really didn't want to do this. Suyin heard that this was a kind of chronic hypnosis. After a long period of hypnosis, a person would remember what he was hypnotized about. No matter what it was, this person would never forget it for the rest of his life. It was something he should do. Many times, this kind of hypnosis was used on spies to hypnotize them to commit suicide once they failed the mission. Because it took a lot of courage for a person to commit suicide, no spy agency would be assured to arrange a spy who hadn't been subjected to this kind of chronic hypnosis to do things. Most spies had to face this kind of long-term chronic hypnosis since they entered the spy agency. This way, when they were really in trouble, they could commit suicide without struggling to end their lives. Suicide wasn't as easy as it was portrayed in the TV series. If a person wanted to commit suicide, what kind of ideological struggle would he go through? People who didn't have this kind of idea could never imagine. Chapter 15:22. Why do you want to kill me? Give me a reason. I'll stand here and wait for you to take my life. Su-yin. If you don't have one, then I'll have to trouble you to think of one. You need a reason to do everything. If you don't even have a reason, why are you doing this? People who were chronically hypnotized had a weakness, that was they didn't know the reason why they were doing this. Su-yin had captured a spy from a certain country, who tried to commit suicide by swallowing poison. After the spy was arrested, he only had one thought, and that was to commit suicide. Even if he wasn't punished by any criminal law, he still kept trying to commit suicide. His behavior was suicidal without a reason. Some people would commit suicide, perhaps because they couldn't stand the torture. However, he didn't face any torture, but he still made such a choice. Then there was no reason. At that time, it took a long time for Su-yin and the others to figure out that there was something called chronic hypnosis. This kind of thing would take root in the depths of a human's heart. It was so deep-rooted that it couldn't be changed. This spy was someone who had been subjected to this kind of chronic hypnosis. Later, in order to confirm that their inference was correct, Su-yin even deliberately designed an opportunity for the spy to escape. However, the spy didn't intend to escape at all. When he could break free and move on his own, his first choice wasn't to try to escape, but to directly choose to commit suicide to end his life. Obviously, this kind of chronic hypnosis didn't teach him how to escape after being captured. Instead, it only emphasized one result. That was, once captured, he must find a way to die. When the spy committed suicide, Su-yin really regretted it a little. Maybe he should have tortured him a little. Maybe he could have sobered him up instead, so that he wouldn't have died in vain in the end. However, there were international restrictions on the treatment of prisoners of war. Torture was against international regulations. Su-yin and the others were members of the country's official army. They couldn't violate this kind of regulation. Even if no one would know, Su-yin and the others wouldn't do it. Because no matter what it was, heaven and earth would know. If you did it, you did it. If you violated it, you violated it. It didn't mean that you could do it if no one saw it. God's eyes were always open. Now Fan Bing's situation was very similar to that of the spy. There was no choice in her mind. She only had one choice, which was to kill Su-yin. This was what she had to do when she saw Su-yin. This was the thing that had been strengthened in her mind by the chronic hypnosis. Perhaps Fan Bing's hypnosis had been worn down for more than 10 years, causing her consciousness to begin to fade. That was why when she saw Su-yin before, she could always hold back and not make a move. However, the concussion from the car accident seemed to have stimulated the thing in her mind that she had to do, so she couldn't control herself. You don't have a reason because you don't even know why you want to kill me. Su-yin. You only know that someone needs you to kill me. This isn't what you really think. You're going against your own consciousness. You're just doing things for someone who hypnotized you and used you. Do you understand? Su-yin still didn't give up. He almost woke up the spy who was chronically hypnotized, but he failed. However, this time, Su-yin would never fail again. He was ready to challenge everything. He had to resolve the chronic hypnosis in Fan Bing's body. This was important to Fan Bing, and it was also important to Su-yin. Even if I'm being used, I'm willing. If it weren't for his kindness, I might not have lived to this day. Fan Bing said, I'm here today because I didn't freeze to death on the street. My life isn't just my own life. You're wrong. Even if someone saved you, your life is still your own life. Su-yin. If you treat your life as someone else's, then what's the meaning of your life? Fan Bing shook her head. It doesn't matter whether it's meaningful or not. What's important is that I can understand my mission at this moment. That's enough. Regardless of success or failure, I have a clear conscience. You're unreasonable, Lin Gu said anxiously. He knew that Su-yin hadn't given up on communicating with Fan Bing, but every minute of communication meant another minute of danger for Su-yin. This would give Fan Bing more and more time to consider her attack strategy and tactical arrangements. He couldn't wait any longer. Brother, I won't give her another chance to attack. Her moves are too dangerous. Fan Bing didn't have any intention of attacking Lin Ge. She only had one target, Su Yun. However, Lin Ji's existence made her even more nervous. She knew that if she was careless and was subdued by Lin Ge, it would mean that she would completely lose the chance to attack Su Yun. She still has her mind. Su Yun still insisted. Leave. Let me be alone with her for a while. Brother. That's impossible. Lin Ge denied without thinking. She's too dangerous. I won't leave. Su Yun frowned. You'll affect her thinking if you stay here. I believe that as long as she's given enough time, she'll definitely understand. Leave. This is an order. I'm not a soldier, and this isn't the army. I don't have to obey orders. Lin Ge said stubbornly. His sixth sense told him that no matter what, he couldn't leave Su Yun alone in front of such a dangerous person. This was because Su Yun didn't have any intention of attacking Fan Bing. And Fan Bing was filled with killing intent towards Su Yun. Once he left, the two of them would be alone in this space. Without him suppressing Fan Bing with his aura, Fan Bing would definitely attack without any scruples. As for Su Yun, he could only defend himself. No matter if it was a street brawl or a large-scale international war between two countries, there wasn't a single example that could prove that the more you defended, the more you could win. If you wanted to win, you had to counterattack, you had to attack. Even if Su Yun's martial cultivation was already quite high, if he only retreated and didn't attack in the face of Fan Bing's attacks, the result would definitely be impossible for him to win. This was the reason why Lin Ge wasn't willing to leave. Once Fan Bing attacked, if Su Yun didn't counterattack, he could counterattack in time and prevent Su Yun from falling into a dangerous situation. When have I ever made a wrong decision? Su Yun said calmly. If you can't think of it, then listen to me. Lin Ge was stumped by Su Yun's words. Yes, Su Yun didn't make any wrong decisions, but he couldn't win every time, right? It was such a big risk. It was okay to take it once, twice, but 3 times for times. Brother, if you always walk by the river, how can your shoes not get wet? Lin Ge was sincerely thinking for Su Yun. Su Yun smiled slightly. If you don't wear shoes, your shoes won't get wet. Lin Ge was stunned for a moment. Fine, Brother Yin was Brother Yin. He was always so stubborn. If he decided on something, he would definitely complete it according to his decision. No one could change it. Yes, no one could think about it. It couldn't be changed at all. In the end, Lin Ge chose to compromise. He slowly retreated from the ward, leaving Su Yun and Fan Bing some private space. He stood guard outside the ward. As long as there were any strange noises from inside, he would rush in at the first instance. But before Lin Ge could finish this thought, Su Yun's order came from the room. No matter what happens, you are not allowed to come in. Even if I die in this room, you have to let her go. Do you understand what I mean? Understand. Lin Ge didn't know how he said these 2 words. He really didn't understand why Brother Yin would take such a big risk. Fan Bing's moves were too strange. This kind of technique and weapon were never seen in the underground world. With such a sinister move, if he wasn't careful, he would only face death. Chapter 15:23. When only Su Yun and Fan Bing were left in the room, Fan Bing's emotions were under control to a certain extent. Lin Ji's presence had indeed brought Fan Bing a considerable amount of danger and pressure. Under that kind of danger and pressure, she couldn't think straight at all. Now that the threat has been removed, there's only the 2 of us. There's nothing to hide between us. If you must kill me, then you shouldn't hide it from me. At least let me know why I'm going to die. If you give me a reason, then I can die with a clear conscience, right? Su Yun probed. I need a reason. You also need one. Fan Bing looked at Su Yun expressionlessly. After a long time, she slowly said, Boss wants you to die. That's my reason. Who is he? Su Yun. Since I'm going to die soon, there's no harm in telling me, right? You don't need to know who he is. Even if you know, there's no point. Fan Bing said, Manager Su, you're right. It's not that I want to kill you. It's just that I have no choice but to kill you. I won't let you be alone on the road to hell. I'll be with you if you don't mind. Su Yun helplessly laughed. Fanbing, what's the point of doing this? Why do you want to die with me after killing me? Because I've let you down. Fanbing said. If I kill you, I'll be letting you down. If I don't kill you, I'll be letting my boss down. I don't have any other choice. I really want to know who it is that has such a deep hatred for me. Who would have you lurk around Sky Entertainment's Zhang Taisui for so long just to get information about me and kill me? Su Yin, you just said that even if I know, there's no point. Why don't you tell me? Don't let me die with regrets. Fanbing took a deep breath. You really want to know that much? If there's someone who wants your life that much, won't you be curious? Su Yin, you'll definitely be curious. People can't escape their curiosity. Fanbing thought for a moment. My boss is Lin Yonghe. Lin Yonghe? Many names and faces quickly appeared in Su Yun's mind, but none of them matched this name. In his mind's database, Lin Yonghe's name didn't appear. This was an absolutely unfamiliar name. Su Yun couldn't think of any connection between him and this name, let alone any deep hatred or resentment. Why did the other party want him to die so badly? This puzzled Su Yun. I don't have any interaction with the person you're talking about. Why would he want my life? Su Yun laughed bitterly. When I was 8 years old, it was my boss who saved my life. From then on, my life was no longer my own. Then, I received the order to kill you. Furthermore, I carried this order with me and kept training, and training, because I knew that this was something that I had to accomplish. Fanbing's mind was filled with images of her being forcibly brainwashed as a child. This was something that she had to do. It was something that had been instilled into her since she was a child. Su Yun was stunned. 8 years old. If I remember correctly, you entered Sky Entertainment when you were 16. You've been training for the past 8 years? That's right, Fanbing said. You've been in Sky Entertainment for more than 10 years. If you received that mission when you were 8 years old, I'm afraid I was just born, Su Yun said. I was just a newborn. How could I have offended anyone? Did your boss make a mistake? Fanbing's next words enlightened Su Yun. He suddenly realized something. Our boss might not have a direct relationship with you, but he might want to take revenge on someone else. He might not have a grudge against you, but what about your family? Su Yun's heart skipped a beat. Could this have something to do with his father? That's right. After he was born, he was sent to Zhang Taisui. After Lin Yonghe trained Fanbing, he arranged for Fanbing to work under Zhang Taisui. Perhaps he didn't know that Su Yun had already been sent by Zhang Taisui to the Dragon Brigade to receive training. If Zhang Taisui hadn't sent him to the Dragon Brigade, perhaps Su Yun would have already become a ghost under Fanbing's control. Actually, Zhang Taisui had chosen to send Su Yun to the Dragon Brigade mainly because he was worried about Su Yun's safety. After all, the Dragon Brigade had won Guangxiao. Normal people wouldn't go there and cause trouble for themselves. At that time, there were too many people who wanted to vent their anger on Su Yun. Zhang Taisui could prevent them for a while, but not for a lifetime. Therefore, he thought of such a foolproof plan to send Su Yun away from his side. This decision was a secret. No one knew where Zhang Taisui sent Su Yun. But one day, it was certain that those who had targeted Zhang Taisui had all missed him. In the following years, Zhang Taisui dealt with many people, but no one got any news about Su Yun. This was the one thing he felt was very successful in his life. As time passed, the hatred slowly dissipated. Many people forgot that Zhang Taisui had adopted this child. However, he didn't expect that there would be someone who wouldn't let go of this matter even after hiding for more than 10 years. Lin Yonghe. Su Yun remembered this name after hearing it once. All this time, Su Yun had no clue about his father's affairs. But this Lin Yonghe might be able to give him a clue. How much hatred and origin did a person who didn't let go of him for more than 10 years have towards his father? Fanbing made her move once again, still without any warning. The slender silver needle in her hand suddenly pierced towards Su Yun's heart like a snake. In that instant, Su Yun made his move. He didn't dodge, but faced the silver needle head-on. Su Yun's right thumb hooked onto his middle finger, flicking the tip of the silver needle with incomparable precision. The silver needle was directly shaken off by Su Yun's flicking. Without this unorthodox weapon in her hand, Fan Bing couldn't do anything to Su Yun. This was the only way she could kill Su Yun. She definitely couldn't be Su Yun's opponent in a head-on fight. This killing method was also taught to you by that person? Su Yun said, do you know that those real underground masters disdain using this method to kill people? The person who taught you this method is definitely not a righteous person. Whether he is righteous or not has nothing to do with me, but he gave me a bite to eat when I was the hungriest. When I was the coldest, he gave me a coat. Fan Bing said, when I needed someone to help me the most, he stood up and helped me. He might be a scoundrel or a bastard in the eyes of others, but he is the god in my heart. Su Yun didn't say anything. Indeed, the kindness of providing charcoal in snowy weather was something that no one could not repay in their lifetime. He could understand Fan Bing's feelings. However, Fan Bing didn't think clearly that this kindness wasn't given for free. It was used in exchange for her life. This wasn't called giving a kindness. This was a kind of undisguised use. It wasn't that Fan Bing couldn't see through this point. She clearly knew that she was being used, but she was willing to be used because of the kindness in her heart that she couldn't repay with anything. Fan Bing's heart was someone who valued this kindness so much that it was completely natural for things to come to this point. I want to see him. Su Yun suddenly opened his mouth and said, I want to see Lin Yonghe. Fan Bing was startled. She never thought that Su Yun would make this kind of request. If you still think of me as a friend, then help me pass on a message, Su Yun said. I really want to see him. Even if he doesn't come to find me and doesn't come to see me, I will still go find him. I will continue until I find him. Chapter 1524. Su Yun's words confused Fan Bing. Why do you want to see him? Because of me? It's because of me. Su Yun. Fan Bing, I can't let you complete your mission. You can't kill me, and I can't do anything to you. Of course, I won't let you leave. You need to calm down during this time. I'll find a place for you to think. Fan Bing frowned. You want to put me under house arrest? You can understand it in another way. Su Yun, I'm helping you. When you calm down and think about everything, you'll naturally understand. There's no need for us to fight anymore. You really can't kill me. Then I can only try my best. Fan Bing's voice fell as she punched out fiercely. Her fingertips pierced towards Su Yun's throat. Even though she didn't have the dangerous silver needles in her hands, her attacks were still vicious enough. Every move was aimed at the vital points. It must be known that as long as the moves were fast enough, even fingernails could be used to kill people. Su Yun had to deal with all of this carefully. All the training that Fan Bing had received in those 8 years was all about killing. Every move and style was not flashy, nor were there any sloppy decorations. They were all aimed at the vital points, enough to kill in one move. Su Yun reflexively waved his arm to block Fan Bing's attack. He grabbed Fan Bing's wrist, but Fan Bing suddenly pulled back her fist and turned her arm into a palm, dodging Su Yun's grab. She found an opening and attacked again, aiming for Su Yun's heart. Su Yun steadied his lower body and faced Fan Bing's attack. He cunningly kicked out, and the tip of his foot hit the joint of Fan Bing's forearm. Fan Bing's expression twisted in pain, and she quickly took 2 steps back. Su Yun's kick just now hit the numbness point on Fan Bing's right arm, so Fan Bing's entire right arm was still completely numb. You're no match for me, Su Yun said. What you've learned are all killing techniques. Only a sneak attack can display its immense power. It's a move that's suitable for sneak attacks and surprise attacks. It's really meaningless to use it against me, who's fully prepared. Fan Bing knew that Su Yun's strength wasn't ordinary, but she never thought that the gap between her and Su Yun would be so great. If I can't kill you today, I beg you to kill me. As she spoke, Fan Bing attacked again. Judging from the strength that Fan Bing had displayed, it was indeed very impressive. If it was a one-on-one fight, she might be on par with Cho Yun. Presumably, she had suffered a lot during those 8 years. However, the 8 years she had spent in the Dragon Brigade still couldn't compare to the 20 years Su Yun had spent in the Dragon Brigade. If they really fought head-on, Su Yun would be able to see through all of her tricks. After more than 10 rounds, Su Yun still didn't take the initiative to attack, and Fan Bing still couldn't gain the upper hand. After expending a lot of energy, Fan Bing's speed became slower and slower. Finally, she completely gave up on the idea of killing Su Yun. I can't kill you. If you want to put me under house arrest, I won't be able to resist. But please don't go looking for him. You're no match for him. If I'm no match for him, why doesn't he just come and kill me? Su Yun asked. Why does he still want to train you? Fan Bing shook her head. She didn't know about these things at all, and she had never thought about it. However, she had seen her boss fight before. Although Su Yun was powerful, he wasn't a match for her boss. Of this, she was quite sure. After leaving the hospital, Fan Bing was arranged to live alone. When everyone heard about this, they were very shocked. Zhuo Meiyan was even more surprised that she hadn't seen anything suspicious about Fan Bing for so many years. Now that she thought about it, Fan Bing never used a stunt double when filming some of the action movies. As long as the action director gave her some pointers, she could express and act out very well. It turned out that this wasn't because she was a genius in understanding the action, but because her foundation in this area was far better than ordinary people. After Fan Bing was put under house arrest, Cho Yun was responsible for watching over her 24/7. They all knew that Fan Bing wouldn't escape. Cho Yun was only watching over her to prevent her from doing anything stupid. These things were quite easy to arrange. What really gave Ruan Qingshuang a headache was the movie that Fan Bing was currently filming. The movie was already halfway done. Obviously, they couldn't let Fan Bing continue filming now. All the staff were anxious like ants on a hot pan. A movie couldn't be stopped just like that. It wasn't just a matter of losing a little bit of investment. There were so many actors, so many staff members, and so many advertisers who signed big contracts for the stars in the movie. It should be known that in this movie, the mineral water and milk that Fan Bing drank, the mobile phone and computer that she used, the motorcycle that she rode, the car that she drove, the high heels that she wore, and the clothes that she wore, were all product placements invested by big brands. The money for these product placements had already been collected. If there wasn't enough screen time for the products of these brands in the movie, or if there was a breach of contract and the product placements couldn't be carried out, they would have to pay a very high amount of liquidated damages. Moreover, it wasn't just a loss of money, it was also a loss of reputation. The damage to the company's reputation was really unpredictable. Thinking of this, Ruan Qingshuang couldn't calm down. It was really too troublesome to deal with. There was no way to have the best of both worlds. The thing that Ruan Qingshuang was worried about now was also the most difficult problem that everyone was facing. It didn't matter whether the movie was filmed or not. The most important thing was the company's reputation. I do have a way to have the best of both worlds. Su Yun suggested an idea. Now that the movie is already halfway through filming, it would be a pity to give up. As long as we change to another person and reshoot Fan Bing's scenes, we can still use the scenes without Fan Bing. As long as we find a new female lead and speed up the filming, there shouldn't be a problem, right? Zhuo Meiyan shook her head. That is indeed a solution. However, you have to know that the new female lead must be as famous as Fan Bing. If she isn't, do you think the advertisers will accept it? If you were the advertiser, would you be willing? Everyone has their own value. Fan Bing is a super popular artist. The advertisers will give her 100 points. If you find another A-lister to replace her, the advertisers will only give her 60 or 70 points. Then let's find a super popular one, Su Yun said. If she's on the same level, the advertisers won't have anything to say, right? Zhuo Meiyan rolled her eyes. Do you think it's easy to find a super popular artist like Fan Bing? Just look at Sky Entertainment. How many people are as popular as Fan Bing? You can count them with your fingers. If you can count them, it means there are. Su Yun's optimistic attitude completely convinced Zhuo Meiyan. Ling Zhiling can't do it? She's not any less popular than Fan Bing. The advertisers should be happy, right? That's easy for you to say. Ling Zhiling has her own work to do. She also has a New Year's movie that she's starring in. Zhuo Meiyan said. I'm afraid she doesn't even have much time to rest. If we make this request, her agent will definitely reject it. It'll be too much of a burden for her. It's impossible for her to agree. She knows very well how much work pressure this will bring to herself. Suyin nodded. Of course I know it'll bring her too much work pressure. However, we really need help right now. How about this? I'll call her and tell her to leave it to me. If she doesn't agree, I won't force her. Just like that, some hope was reignited. Ruan Qingshuang knew that if Suyin asked, Ling Jiling wouldn't refuse. Because of this, everyone was busy communicating with each other for 2 days. Only then did they manage to make up for the impact of Fan Bing's strike. Chapter 1525. Ling Jiling had a lot of work to do recently, but when she received Suyun's call and heard Suyun's request, she agreed without hesitation. She didn't even ask why Fan Bing suddenly went on strike. She agreed so quickly because she didn't want to make Suyun anxious. In fact, in this matter, Ling Jiling had a certain advantage by stepping forward to help solve the problem. Her crew and Fan Bing's crew happened to be shooting in the same city. The theme of the 2 New Year's movies were both romantic dramas, but in different years. One was about the early days of the founding of the country, and the other was about the modern city. Both movies were produced by Sky Entertainment. Originally, when they were released to the market, the publicity gimmick was Ling Jiling versus Fan Bing. These 2 popular goddesses used different personalities to portray the great love between 2 female leads with completely different identities. But now it seemed that the publicity gimmick could only be changed to Ling Jiling's subversive challenge. 2 completely different characters, one person doing the same thing at the same time. It was simply a difficult task. When this matter was confirmed, the directors of the 2 movies separately expressed certain difficulties. Their worries were normal. It wasn't easy for an actor to integrate into one character, and it was hard to say whether or not it would affect the actor to integrate into 2 characters at the same time. Of course, the challenge Ling Jiling was facing was huge. She never thought that she would use this method to break through herself, because using this method to achieve the so-called self-breakthrough was simply too self-destructive. She was completely trying to help Suyin. She agreed immediately because she really didn't want to see Suyin in trouble. For this matter, Suyin even traveled thousands of miles to the studio where the 2 movies were shot. First, he had to communicate with the 2 directors. After all, this matter happened too quickly. Everything happened without any warning, so the directors would definitely have some opinions. These things were handed over to Suyin to deal with. As for the external contact, especially the advertising matters, it was handled by Ruan Qingshuang. From a luxury car brand, an electronic technology giant, to a small beverage company, a clothing company, they all needed to give a reasonable explanation and obtain their consent and approval. These things had to be done on paper. Otherwise, it would be troublesome if these advertising implants turned around and made a false countercharge. Zhuo Meiyan had long since predicted that some people would try to agree verbally without signing anything. Based on this, she had specially taught Ruan Qingshuang how to deal with this. As long as any advertiser refused to sign the contract, they would show him the termination document. They would also tell him that Sky Entertainment could afford to pay any amount of money. They would also stop working with them and stop working with them in the future. As long as there was such a sentence, no advertising partner would not lower their heads. After all, there were many things that required cooperation to achieve a win-win situation. It was just like the malicious competition advertisement that many people saw a few years ago between 2 big cola companies. One was a story that happened in front of a vending machine. The little boy's height was limited, and he couldn't press the Pepsi button. So he bought 2 cans of Coca-Cola and stepped on them until he was tall enough to press the Pepsi button and buy a can of Pepsi. The other story happened in front of a fridge. Because the little boy's height was limited, the Coca-Cola was placed on the top of the fridge. So the little boy took 2 cans of Pepsi and stepped on them to get a can of Coca-Cola. At first glance, it was indeed malicious competition. However, if a wise person thought about it, wasn't this a win-win situation? Both products left a deep impression on others. In all the countries in the world, it would be hard to find another cola company other than these 2 cola companies. What? Laoshang Cola? Oh my god, you're Kodo Silver, aren't you? I'm really shocked. Cooperation was a win-win situation. So, Advertisers knew which movies they should insert, which ones they were willing to spend a lot of money on, and which ones weren't. For movies that Sky Entertainment invested in, advertisers would definitely do their best to cooperate. This was because they knew that their movies would be more successful. Their productions would receive more recognition from the market. Only then would it be more meaningful for the brand. Of course, Soo-yin didn't need to worry about these things. Other than communicating and discussing with the director and crew, Soo-yin came here to thank Ling Jiling for helping him in his hour of need. One had to know that no matter how good the communication was, if there wasn't a superstar actress who wasn't any less valuable than Fan Bing to replace the role, it would all be empty talk. Soo-yin arranged a thank you dinner for the two important people in charge of the crew. He said a lot of words of thanks and drank a lot of wine. He also invited Ling Jiling. The main reason was to let the two parties communicate well about the filming and reduce Ling Jiling's work pressure as much as possible. If the two parties could arrange the filming period reasonably, Ling Jiling would be able to reduce a lot of the filming pressure. For this reason, Soo-yin had to drink a few more glasses with the two directors. Most of the time, alcohol was more useful than face. As long as everyone was happy, anything could be discussed. After tossing and turning for half the night, Soo-yin could finally breathe a sigh of relief. The gratitude banquet was finally over. Chapter 1526. After arranging all the adverse reactions after putting Fan Bing under house arrest, Soo-yin could finally breathe a sigh of relief. When he rushed back to Qingdao again, Lin Ge didn't let him down. He told Soo-yin everything he had investigated in the past few days in detail. Although there were vehicles in the high-rise parking lot that they couldn't judge based on the tire tracks, this kind of car must be rare in the world. Therefore, Lin Ge investigated all the special and rare vehicles that had recently appeared in Qingdao. Now that there were more rich people, there were more people who played with custom-made vehicles. The advanced custom-made luxury car project was dedicated to the rich. Ferrari said, "We can make any model for you. As long as you can afford the right price, we can guarantee that there is only one of them." For example, the Pagani Zonda 750 custom-made by a Middle Eastern tycoon. The Mercedes-Benz AS55K of the Abu Dhabi royal family of the United Arab Emirates? Why yes, Ferrari SP12EC and Ferrari Super America 45 were all unique custom-made models in the world. Of course, this unique model was really not seen in Qingdao. Moreover, the four cars mentioned above, except for the off-road vehicle custom-made by the Abu Dhabi royal family of the United Arab Emirates, the others were supercars. With the road conditions and congestion in Qingdao, it was really a waste to drive the cars mentioned above here. Among the cars that Lin Ge had in his possession, there were 5 that could be considered rare. One was a Lamborghini that was limited to 10 in the world, one was a custom-made Koenigsegg, and one was a Pagani that was limited to 3 in the world. However, this Pagani might not be the real Huayra that was limited to 3 in the world. It was a Dynastia special edition, but it was modified by itself. Obviously, these 3 sports cars were unlikely because the tire tracks seen on the roof that day were definitely more than 3.5 meters. It was not a sports car judging from the wheelbase that was definitely more than 3.5 meters. A coupe's wheelbase would not be more than 3 meters. This wheelbase of more than 3.5 meters must be a super large luxury car. Lin Ge set his main target on the other 2 cars. One was a modified Mercedes-Benz S-Class produced by Barbos. Of course, it was not the ordinary kind. The ordinary kind was only about 1 million yuan. There were many Huaxia's nouveau riche who could afford it. This was an absolutely special custom-made car. Except for Barbos B-grade, you couldn't tell that this was a modified Mercedes-Benz by Barbos. The other one was even more unique. It had no logo, but based on the width and shape of the body, it should be a modified version of the Maybach platform. In terms of the model, hub and body height, it was basically a one-of-a-kind custom-made model. At least, Lin Ge had not seen such a car anywhere else. Because the evidence was all blurry surveillance camera photos, it was not very clear. However, Soo-yin still locked his eyes on the car without a logo. Compared to the Barbos S-Class and the 3 unreliable rare sports cars, This custom-made model without a logo was probably more like the protagonist they were looking for. I also think that this car is more suspicious. After Lin Ge saw Su Yun's gaze, he realized that his judgment might be very correct. There is really little surveillance footage of this car. Even this was cut from a clip that was immediately displayed on the screen. Su Yun furrowed his brows. When I checked the route of the public security camera in Qingdao, I found a very special problem. Lin Ge said, since Fan Bing's accident 5 days ago, there has been a problem with the public security cameras on the roads of Qingdao. The surveillance footage of a random place will appear as a snowflake. I asked the police. They said that they had checked it, but they couldn't find any problems. Everything was normal. They speculated that it might be a problem with the current and voltage, so I have some doubts. You suspect that the car has an interference device. It will emit an interference signal near the camera to disrupt the current of the camera equipment. As a result, the camera can't operate normally, and the footage taken will be a snowflake. Su Yun said indifferently. And this surveillance camera also completely lost its function when the car got closer, right? Lin Ge nodded. Now it seems that this is the only reasonable explanation. Su Yun was silent for a moment. He had heard of this kind of interference device that could disrupt the current of the camera equipment. It could disrupt not only the camera equipment, but also any recording equipment. It was said that this product was invented in a war zone. With it, prisoners of war could be punished under any circumstances, and there was no need to be afraid of being sued by the United Nations to collect evidence. If the other party really had such a thing, then it was really not simple. Where does the camera equipment often appear as a snowflake? Su Yun asked. No matter what, this was indeed a suspicious place. No matter whether his guess was correct or not, Su Yun had to personally rule it out. If it was, then it would be best. If it wasn't, then it wouldn't be a waste of time. Lin Ge said, this is the question I just asked today. On the road between the Intercontinental Hotel and the Wangfu Hotel, there are often snowflakes on the camera equipment. No problems were found after many inspections. For this reason, the security department specially changed the cameras, but there is still a snowflake problem. That means that if our guess is correct, that suspicious car will often appear on this road? Su Yun asked. Lin Ge nodded, but he was still a little hesitant. But I also think of another question. If he had such a thing in his car, then why did he stick it to the camera equipment in the high-rise parking lot? Horses can make mistakes and people can make mistakes, let alone machines. Since you can still find such a scene in the surveillance camera to determine the general shape of the car, it means that this interference device is not 100% successful at all times. It also has a chance of failure, even if it is 1 in 10,000. Su Yun. But the other party is cunning. If you want to be foolproof, of course you need to add another layer of insurance. Stick the camera equipment, and everything will be safe. Indeed, this was double insurance. It seemed that Lin Ge was overthinking. There was still a very big problem with this car. Let's go check it out tonight. Su Yun said. Let's see which of the 2 5-star hotels this problematic car is staying in, the Intercontinental Hotel and the Wang residence. Lin Ge couldn't wait any longer. If Su Yun didn't come back today, he would go check it out himself tonight. If there is really a problem with this car, and it has something to do with Lin Yonghe, we must be careful. Su Yun. This Lin Yonghe must be a very dangerous person. Brother, if this Lin Yonghe is really so dangerous, how can we not know this name? Lin Ge. I think she is most likely not a very powerful person. She can only fool Fan Bing. It's better to be careful. Su Yun. Lin Ge smiled. If there is no other way, I will first ask around about this Lin Yonghe. Maybe my master will know. Let's not bother him with our own matters. Su Yun didn't want Lin Ge to tell Lu Xuanji for a reason. It was just like how he would rather not know anything about Lin Yonghe than ask Wang Guangxiao or Wang Yi. Because if this Lin Yonghe was really related to his father, then those people definitely didn't want him to have any contact with this Lin Yonghe, right? No matter what, after so many years, Su Yun could feel that no one around him who could be considered his elder would want him to have the slightest bit of curiosity about his father's affairs, nor would they want him to think about it. Lin Gu was very obedient to Su Yun's arrangements. If he didn't ask, then he wouldn't ask. At night, he would find out the situation. If this Lin Yonghe wasn't a big deal, then he would directly take him down. Chapter 1527. After the cycle of reincarnation, when night replaced day, the city of Qingdao not only did not lose its youth and sunshine, but also became more lively. Tall buildings stood tall, the lights of Hong Kong Middle Road were waning, and the crowded Taitong pedestrian street was bustling as usual. Everything was as usual, and the city was not affected by the change of a certain person. Perhaps, there was a saying for those narcissistic people who thought that the earth would not rotate without them. Everyone is busy, and no one will pay attention to you. In fact, this sentence was the truth. There were billions of people in the world. Everyone had their own things to do. There were only a few people that each person truly cared about, and truly cared about themselves. Don't think that you are like an idol, being so cautious in everything you do. In fact, even if you farted in an elevator filled with strangers, no one would point at you behind your back the next day, saying that you were the person who farted in the elevator yesterday, because basically no one would remember you. Once a person was really noticed by others, it meant that they were in trouble, and it might even be a big trouble. If Lin Yonghe could still be a coward like 20 years ago, hiding his identity, he would not be targeted by Su Yun and Lin Gu. He was lying in the massage bathroom of the Wangfu Hotel's luxurious suite, watching the news on the wall-mounted TV, talking about how the representative of a Chinese company was scolded by a high official of U country. On the screen, the staff of U country's Ministry of Transport and the representative of China Railways and Bureau sat on both sides of the long conference table. The U country's Minister of Transport was full of anger, glaring at the Chinese people opposite him, and pointing his finger at them to vent his dissatisfaction. Seeing this scene, most of the Huaxia people felt very unhappy. It's just a small U country. My elders could beat you until you cried for your parents decades ago. If it weren't for my elders' help back then, who knows if your country would still exist? Now your wings haven't even grown yet, and you dare to shout at me? Do you have any F***king idea in your heart? But they didn't know that at the end of last year, an accident occurred in the U country's urban rail project, causing 1 death and several injuries. This shoddy project had even been sent overseas. It had completely disgraced the old master. U country's Minister of Transportation was indeed asking for a beating, but wasn't the leader in charge of this project even more asking for a beating? Lin Yonghe enjoyed the massage bathtub brought to his back, and took a sip of the red wine beside him. On this matter he supported U country. This was because he had escaped to the state of U. At that time, U country's chaotic social situation made him successful. U country hired people to commit crimes, and there were many cases of people hiring people to collect debts. That was why Lin Yonghe was able to do so well. Later on, he was involved in the internal strife of a large drug trafficking family. When the old man in charge of the family died, the family's eldest son and second son both crazily fought for everything in the family. Lin Yonghe was the most powerful expert the old man had invited to the family when he was alive, so the eldest son and second son both tried to rope him in. The eldest son gave him everything he could and asked Lin Yonghe to kill his younger brother. The second son also gave Lin Yonghe everything to kill his older brother. Lin Yonghe was a trustworthy person. Since he had received the money, he would definitely do it. However, he had received the money from both sides and killed both of them. The remaining eldest daughter of the family also became Lin Yonghe's woman. Later on, everything in the family became Lin Yonghe's. No one knew that the person who had killed the old man and started the internal strife in the family was Lin Yonghe. After obtaining money and status in U country, Lin Yonghe wanted to regroup and make a comeback. He wanted to take back everything he had lost and take revenge. However, Lin Yonghe was also very clear about his own strength. He was completely not that man's opponent. Even if he trained for another 100 years, he still wouldn't be able to catch up. He could only continue to expand his influence so that one day, he would be able to command the masses. Only then would he be able to kill him. However, Lin Yonghe had painstakingly built up his criminal empire in U country for 3 years. while the person he had sworn to kill had gone to a place he would never dare to enter. Just like that, Lin Yongha had completely lost his chance to take revenge. However, after asking around, he finally got a clue that the man had a child. Lin Yongha swore in his heart at that time, "If I can't kill you, I will kill your son. No matter what, I will cut off all your family members from now on. Cut the weeds and dig up the roots." However, when Lin Yongha wanted to take action, he knew that the child had been sent to Zhang Yiji. Zhang Yiji was still a person Lin Yongha didn't dare to touch. He hated that he didn't have the strength. However, at that time, he saw Fan Bing, who was almost frozen to death on the street. An idea arose in Lin Yongha's mind. Why didn't he train a group of people? When they grew up, they could sneak into Zhang Yiji's company and wait for an opportunity to take action. In this way, not only could he kill the man's son, but also wouldn't let Zhang Yiji find out that it was Lin Yongha who did it. This was a perfect plan. He needed time. However, it was better to wait for the man's son to grow up and then kill him. It would definitely make Zhang Yiji more heartbroken. It would also make the man regret sending him to that place where he couldn't return. Lin Yongha adopted Fan Bing and many other poor children, who he thought had the potential to be in this line of work. 8 years. He used 8 years to train them. He taught them how to kill and sent them to study acting, all for the sake of sneaking into Zhang Yiji's Sky Entertainment Group. Only Lin Yongha knew how much patience he needed to do this. Finally, Fan Bing successfully sneaked into Sky Entertainment Group. Lin Yongha waited for the opportunity to take revenge. However, everything changed again. His plan could never keep up with the changes of the situation. Because the man's son was no longer with Zhang Yiji sent him somewhere else. Lin Yongha didn't find out where Zhang Yiji sent Su Yun, but he knew that Zhang Yiji sent him out to gain experience. Sooner or later he would come back. Zhang Yiji would eventually die of old age. Lin Yongha believed that that day would be his chance. Another 10 years passed. Lin Yongha's patience had been trained to the limit. Fan Bing continued to sneak into Sky Entertainment Group. In the beginning, Fan Bing was very clear about her goal. She was also very clear that she wasn't a real celebrity. But 10 years had passed so quickly. Fan Bing, who had entered Sky Entertainment at the age of 16, was now 26 years old. She really couldn't tell if she was an actress or a hidden killer. That year, Zhang Yiji passed away. Lin Yongha knew his chance had come. Fan Bing was determined to get rid of the person she wanted to get rid of as soon as possible. However, Su Yun didn't show up. Lin Yongha's plan failed again. However, he still decided to wait. He didn't believe that the person he wanted to kill wouldn't show up. A few years passed. On the day of the opening of the Qingdao Film and Television Plaza, Lin Yongha saw that the man's son had grown up. He knew his chance had finally come. However, he forgot that Fan Bing, who had been hiding in Sky Entertainment for more than 10 years, had been moved by real life. It wasn't that she had betrayed Lin Yongha, but that she had begun to understand what a real life was and what a real life was. What she couldn't let go of for Lin Yongha was the life-saving grace of sending charcoal in snowy weather. If it wasn't for that, Fan Bing would have left Lin Yongha's organization long ago. That's right. Fan Bing wanted to live a real life. She wanted to live a meaningful life. She didn't want to just kill one person. She had her own life. She had her own dream. However, at this time Lin Yongha told her that the time had come. She had to make her move. How could Fan Bing do anything to him? Lin Yongha watched TV and tasted red wine. His mind was thinking about how to deal with Fan Bing. He had a headache. These things were too troublesome. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.